She's lying.
Somebody who drives around without insurance doesn't speak.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
25-year-old Karen Terrazone is suing fellow motorist Pamela Salazar for causing an accident when she cut her off.
Order. All rise.
Your Honor, this is case number 267 on the calendar in the matter of Terrazone versus Salazar.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
This is an automobile accident case, and each of you claim that the other is responsible for the accident. The accident happened, Ms. Terrazone, on what date?
April 25th of this year, 6:30 p.m.
What kind of car were you driving?
2001 Jetta Volkswagen, black.
When had you purchased it?
Around 2008.
And at the time of the accident, did you have full coverage, and with what company?
I did not have full coverage.
Did you have liability?
Yes, liability coverage.
With what company?
USAA.
And what kind of car were you driving, Miss Salazar?
A 2003 Chevy Tahoe.
When had you purchased it?
Approximately 6 months previous to the accident.
How much the cost of it?
Yes.
Did you pay for it in cash?
Yes.
At the time of the accident, did you have liability coverage?
I did not. My insurance had lapsed the day before.
Which is why we're here. Because if your insurance hadn't lapsed, your insurance would have taken care of.
Correct. My policy was being rewritten and the...
Whatever. But if your policy wasn't being rewritten, we wouldn't be here today because your insurance would have covered the accident and would have paid for her damage. Is that correct?
Probably.
Probably.
They might have found fault with her, though.
Probably not. You want to tell me what happened?
Yes, I was out of my commute from work.
Show me where.
In this diagram here, I was turning left here, and I had a green light. She was in the next lane next to me, right here. She had a red light. So she was at a complete stop. I had the right of way. I was turning left, and she bolted right in front of me, giving me no reaction time to brake, and we hit right on the side here, not bumper to bumper, but to the side. So my right...
So she was going around you?
She was cutting right in front of me to make the green light.
No, ma'am. I was already in the left-hand lane when she came up behind me.
If you were already in the left-hand lane, then...
Just a second. Just a second. Now you go over there.
Okay, the plaintiff's witness was not in this location. She was actually in front of my vehicle. Okay, I was in this lane already. There's an island that comes out right here. I was in this lane right here. She was not behind me. The witness was in front of me, and I was here. I had the green. As I approached the arrow, it turned yellow. I decided to wait for the next light, and all of a sudden, she slammed into the back of me.
Okay.
It was not in the back of me.
I'm going to dismiss your case if you do it again. Do you understand?
Yes.
PW, plaintiff's witness. You were in a different car.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me your last name.
Goss.
Had you ever met Miss Terrazone before April 25th?
No, I did not.
And you don't know the defendant?
I don't know any of them.
You got involved because you witnessed the accident?
I was right there, yes.
You want to tell me who's telling me the truth?
Yes. Your Honor, I am the yellow vehicle, and the defendant is the blue vehicle.
She's lying. She was in front of me.
I don't want you to speak. Somebody who drives around without insurance doesn't speak.
I have insurance right now, ma'am. I had 1 day with no insurance.
Just a second. Do you know how many cases that I do with people who went 1 day without insurance and just happened to get into an accident that 1 day? We cover an entire sweeps period in November with people who just had a lap stamp fell off the envelope, all kinds of other things. So let's be quiet. Go.
We were stopped at a red light, as you can see. The light had turned green for the left turn. The cars had started to go, and the cars in these lanes are stopped, and the car that was in front of me, which is the defendant, had turned in front of the car that is plaintiff, and she hit and landed on top of the island that is right there.
Who landed on top of the island?
I did. The plaintiff.
Did you follow these? Because I understand from both people that they tried to move the cars out of the way.
Continued to stay there, pulled up closer to her because they now are even further in front of me. So when I pulled up closer to her and I looked at her to see if she was okay because she was shaken up in her car, they both had gotten out, but it's a very busy intersection. So we then said, is anyone injured? Nobody was injured. Everyone said everyone was fine. We then decided to try and get out of the lanes of traffic.
And you just gave her your information, your contact information. That's how you get here.
I did give her my information, and I did give her my information.
Okay, great. Were you in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. You were in the car with whom?
My mother.
Go over there.
Yes, ma'am. I actually got out of the car when all of this happened with my mother too. It came over here, and the witness was actually in front of us.
So you were in the left-hand lane already, then?
Shh, shh. Don't. You're not following me. Do you understand?
Yes. Sorry.
When you got out of the car,
Yes, ma'am.
the witness, Miss Goss, her car moved.
Yeah. Yes. And she was in front of us when the accident happened, and I was actually the one that got her number from her, and her name, it's in my phone, and she told me that she was in front of us when she saw the accident, and I even then asked her, like, how could she have been in front of us and seen the accident if we're in a Tahoe and she was in a smaller car, and she was in a smaller car, too.
You still didn't tell me how the accident happened. We're not questioning this witness.
Okay.
Because you claim that your mother was not at fault.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
Right.
Well, then I want you to stand back there now, because I gave you a chance over there at that poster. I want you to tell me where you were going.
Home.
On what street do you live?
55th Street West.
And you were going home from where?
My mom was at work.
And where were you?
I was at work with her.
Do you work together?
No, ma'am.
So you had gone to her place of business?
Yes, ma'am.
To pick her up?
No.
She was driving?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you do that often, meet her at work to drive home?
Yes, ma'am.
How often?
Once a month, and about once a month.
So you were going home?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know where 55th Street West is? This street, where is it in relation to 55th Street West, Miss Goss?
Probably 5 miles north, or west, I should say.
5 miles west?
West. We were heading west.
I was turning left on 20th Street West.
You were turning?
Heading south.
Yeah.
You were heading south?
Yes.
Okay. What I'm trying to figure out is a reason for the defendant to change lanes to make a left turn. Yes?
We lived just off M, and we were on J. So we were turning.
So there's a reason for you to turn left?
Yes, ma'am.
That's so wonderful. That makes it so wonderful. So there was a reason for you to turn left, and if there was a reason for you to turn left, can you explain to me why you were in a lane that was supposed to go straight? Don't speak.
We were in a lane that was supposed to turn left. We were already in the left-hand turn lane when the accident happened.
Now go over there and show me where you were. Now go over there and show me where you were.
All the cars are a little forward. We were more back here. We were about here. And this island is like, kind of turns like this.
Right.
For the left-hand turn lane. And so we were, where she is here, but in real life, we were in front of her.
Just a second.
All these cars are pushed forward a little bit.
That's fine.
So
all the cars
all of them this way.
All the cars are pushed forward.
Right.
Were you in front of her or behind her?
In front.
You were in front of her.
Yes.
So now I want you to explain to me how you had an accident if you were in front of her. Come on.
Okay, so we were in front of her, and we were already in the left-hand turn lane, and she came, and she, honked at us and hit us and bounced off and landed on the island. And she literally bounced off, I felt it. And I had time to turn around after she bounced off before I got out of the car, and I turned around and I saw her, on the island through the back window.
So I still don't understand how, if she was behind you.
Right.
I don't understand how the accident happened.
I have a picture, Your Honor, of the...
What part of be quiet don't you understand? I don't understand how the accident happened.
I don't understand either.
Good, very good. Okay. The accident happened and it all would have been resolved if your mother had insurance like she should have had.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I was throwing some wood chips at him, and then he started throwing wood chips at me. And then I took the hat off his head, and then I put it...
Okay, so you took the hat off his head, and then what happened?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Karen Terrazoan says fellow motorist Pamela Salazar, cut her off in a left turn lane. Pamela is countersuing for her damages.
Now, can I have a bill for the car, please? Is the car working now?
No.
Is it totaled?
Wouldn't say total, it just needs the repairs, and then it would be working fine. Because where the impact happened is the car has a turbo in it. So where it happened was on the side of the car, on the right fender, and that's where the turbo cooler happened to be. So it...
Would you check and see what the value of the 2001 Jetta is?
I also have an estimate for my counterclaim.
Your counterclaim's dismissed.
Okay.
We don't reward people who drive around without insurance.
$25.50.
Okay, I mean, you can buy one that probably has lower mileage for less, but...
But my car was paid off, Your Honor.
I understand that.
So
I understand that. I'm
definitely
going to give you the money to repair it.
Okay.
Because its value is greater than the amount of replacement.
Right.
$21.47 is the...
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, I'm a little disappointed because the plaintiff was lying and her witness lied, so I hope they can live with themselves and sleep at night.
She was definitely lying, and it's pretty sad that her mom was allowing her daughter to lie for her.
About the location of the car and how the accident happened.
I'm very disappointed for a mother to be here with her child and to encourage that behavior.
Slow down.
Drive safe.
Always have insurance.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Glenn versus Harrison. Step forward.
Marty Glenn is suing the mother of her son's former schoolmate, Catherine Harrison, for the cost of damaged glasses.
I'd like the gentleman to come up
Okay,
and
stand
stand
up,
next to
gentlemen.
their moms. And actually, their moms are not necessary parties for me because neither one of you were there in school when this incident happened. Is that correct?
Correct.
What's your first name?
My first name is Parker.
And yours?
Jordan.
Now, Parker and Jordan used to be friends. They're 13 years old?
Yes.
And they've been friends for how long, Parker?
I would say about 6 months, 4 months.
From school?
From school, yeah.
Okay. And there was an incident in school when you guys were playing around. Now, Jordan, I want you to tell me what happened on that day.
So I was sitting on top of the slide talking to my friends during PE because we had free time. While I was talking to my friends, Parker came by and he picked up a handful of wood chips and then threw them at me.
Wood chips?
Yes.
Is that what's on the floor of the playground?
Yes. Then he threw them at me. I told him to stop. Then he picked up another handful, threw them at me. And then I came down from the slide, walked up to him, told him to stop. He grabbed my hat and buried it in the trash.
Were you saying anything to each other?
No, I told him, all I did was tell him to stop.
You hadn't had any argument with him that day?
No.
Just playing around?
Well, the first time he threw it, I thought he was, and then he threw it again, and I started getting agitated. And then he buried my hat in the trash.
Who else was around you?
A couple of my friends.
Did your friends say anything to Parker?
At first they laughed, and then they saw me go down there, and they started to back me up and tell him to stop.
We're just going to stop you right there. Let's get to March 3rd. He's on top of the slide. What's happening?
Okay, so what happened was I was messing around with him, and so...
Okay, now, messing around means something.
Yeah.
Means different things to different people. To grown-up, messing around means something different from what it means to a 13-year-old. I want you to tell me exactly what you did when Jordan was sitting on top of the slide.
Judge Judy continued.
So I felt uncomfortable, so I kind of just nudged him away from me.
Show me what a nudge is. Would you go stand next to this young man? And I want to see what a nudge is.
Nudge gently, please.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Marty Glenn says her son's former schoolmate, 13-year-old Jordan Bernal, purposely broke her son's glasses.
I want you to tell me exactly what you did when Jordan was sitting on top of the slide.
Well, we were poking fun at each other.
Tell me.
So I was throwing some wood chips at him, and then
So you threw some wood chips at him while he was sitting on top of the slide. And then what did he do?
And then he came down the slide, and then he started throwing wood chips at me.
So he threw them back at you. And?
And then I was down on the ground. Oh, and then so I took the hat off his head, and then I put
so you took the hat. Next thing. You reached over, took the hat off his head, and put it in the
trash.
Garbage.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
And then he started to get mad, so I walked away from the area. I walked out of the playground area into like over there.
When he started to get mad, as you were putting in his hat in the garbage.
Yes.
He was saying to you, stop it.
Well,
he wasn't encouraging you to do it.
No, he got mad after I put the hat in the trash because I didn't see him start to get mad only after he
Well,
put
you
it.
grabbed the hat off of his head, and what did you immediately do with it when you grabbed it off his head?
Well, I ran around with it.
Okay, so you grabbed it off his head, and then you ran around with it.
Yeah.
For how many minutes?
It was about just like 30 seconds or so.
And he was chasing you
around,
trying to get his hat back.
Yeah.
And then you stuffed it in the garbage.
Well, I set it on top of the garbage. I didn't really like stuff it, I just put it on top.
Okay, and then what happened?
And then I came back, because I thought it was going to be time to go in soon.
Okay, so you walked away after you put his hat in the garbage, then you came back.
Mm-hmm.
How much time elapsed?
I'm going to say 5 to 10 minutes.
And he didn't follow you?
No.
Nor did his friends follow you?
Mm-hmm.
They did not?
They didn't.
And then you came back and did what?
And then I came back to talk to my friends over there, and then only to see that another kid stuffed the hat back into the trash, really mad, and then he said to me, "Do you want to fight?" So I felt uncomfortable, so I kind of just nudged him away from me.
How does a nudge? Give me show me what a nudge is. Bird, would you go stand next to this young man? And I want to see what a nudge is.
Nudge gently, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I want you to show me how you touched him.
Oh, I was kind of like that.
Okay, so he was coming over to you,
Yeah.
and you said to him, "You want to fight?"
Well, no, he said to me, "Do you want to fight?"
And you
Yeah.
pushed him. And then?
And then he took the glasses off my face, and then he just tore them and then smashed them. He threw them on the ground, and then he exited the area towards the door to where the campus is. So I came to pick up my glasses and get my backpack, which is where the door was, to tell the principal. But then when I came to get my backpack, he started coming up to me and he started a fight. And then, he started throwing punches.
Mrs. Harrison to pay for the glasses.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not happening. Tell him to get a job and pay for his own glasses.
Why would that be?
That would be because he was the aggressor. That would be because he was the aggressor.
But a hat is not permanent damage
That
compared to...
would be because, well, if somebody put my hat in the garbage, I would not put it on my head again. And he was the aggressor to begin with. He was the initial aggressor and kept it going. And he was a bully who got his comeuppance. You pay for his glasses and tell him not to be a bully. We're done. Okay?
These are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
This is actually the first I've heard of that side of the story.
I don't think the kids should have started the fight in the first place.
It was never told to me in the police report that way, so I am shocked.
He got what he deserved, so.
I do not think it was a matter of bullying. I think that it was a matter of two children playing around and joking with each other.
Honestly, I mean, I think the kids learned a valuable lesson.
And one got too angry compared to the other one. The other one tried to stop.
If you're friends, don't treat each other badly between each other.
I didn't think of him as that kind of person to get that mad.
If he didn't throw the wood chips, it wouldn't have started, and I still would have been there talking to my friends.
Something like that, so that's why I thought it was...
I don't know.
We're not really friends anymore, I guess, I would say.
They just worked under me. I told them what to do, and they did it.
Cheated out of their pay by an old friend?
I give them cash advances constantly, so for me to owe them kind of seems odd.
But are his hurt feelings
You had to suffer a hostile work environment.
also worth a few bucks?
Every once in a while, there'd be a low-blow statement, yelling, spittle, flying, stuff like that.
Do what? I don't think so.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
21-year-old Amrit Moctezuma and her boyfriend, Joseph Kreibel, are suing their former employer, Robert Miller, for unpaid wages and harassment.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 284 on the calendar in the matter of Moctezuma Kreibel versus Miller.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Kreibel, how do you know the defendant?
Bob Miller was my parents' boss back in the 80s.
So you've known him since you were... I gather from reading these papers, you are estranged from your parents.
Yes.
How long has it been since you've lived at home?
Up until I was 20.
How old are you now?
I'm 26.
And where do you live now?
Transient. Moving to Arizona.
Right now, you have no place to live.
Yes, because of the circumstances.
How old are you?
21.
And you're also estranged from your parents?
Yes.
For how long?
Since I was about 18.
And how long have you and Mr. Kreibel been a couple?
Since I was 18.
So you've been together 3 years?
Yes.
And of those 3 years, how many of those 3 years have you been homeless?
Only a few months.
How many different places have you lived?
New Jersey, Los Angeles, Long Beach. That's about it.
In the 3 years that you've been together, how many jobs has Mr. Kreibel had that Mr. Miller gave him?
An exact number I couldn't give you, but several.
Several?
Yes.
Doing a variety of things?
Yes.
And he always paid him?
Yes.
Because he was a friend and he knew him?
Yeah.
Did you ever work for Mr. Miller?
Yes, recently.
Other than this case, did you ever work for Mr. Miller?
Once, one other time.
Doing what?
Residential painting.
When?
Around a year ago.
And what did you paint?
Houses.
Houses that he owned, houses that he...
Different clients' houses.
What client?
November of last year.
And what kind of a client, Mr. Miller?
Painting the rental home, and it was vacant, and we repainted the entire thing, fixed the doors, whatever needed to be fixed.
And you subcontracted that out to them?
No, they just worked under me. I told them what to do, and they did it.
So you painted there, too?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm on every job.
Is that what you do for a living?
Yes. It's all referral. We have to sell. We sell a high quality, so I have to be there.
Got it. I got it. That's your business. I didn't know that that was your business. Fine. Now I understand. Okay. So he's been helpful to you.
Yes, it's kind of...
Now I also hear from these papers that either one or both of you got into some trouble a while ago. Criminal trouble. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And there was a trial.
Yes.
Yes.
And did Mr. Miller testify on your behalf?
Yes, he did.
What happened as a result of that trial?
Charges got reduced, and we were granted probation.
Is that the only problem you've had with the law?
Yes.
Now, this is why you are suing Mr. Miller for $5,000. You claim that he owes you wages. In what amount?
It came to $668.75 for myself at 53 and a half hours at a rate of $12.50.
For myself, it's a pay of $10 times 53 hours, which came to $535.
They worked for me. He made $12 an hour, number one.
He made what?
$12 an hour. She made $10 an hour.
That's what
I give him cash advances constantly.
Okay.
So for me to owe him kind of seems odd.
Okay. So you asked them to do this house painting for you again?
Yes.
Recently. When was that?
From August 25th to September 24.
And around August 25th, once you asked them to start the job, how much did you give them in cash advances? You must have that.
It varies, Your Honor. It started out $40 just for the day before. They didn't have enough money to get to the job. So I give them money to go, then they don't even show up that day. So we're going to the following day. They showed up at the house and then fought and then left, and it's kind of problems.
Well, I understand that, but you're a businessman, sir. If
Yes.
you gave them advances,
constantly,
and those advances were going to be offset with regard to wages,
yes,
then you have to have a record of those.
I do.
Fine, that's what I'm asking
Okay.
you.
I have their time cards current, except the last one they did not turn in. I have written it where you could understand it on another piece of paper. It's very difficult to understand a lot of their markings there, Your Honor.
Whose markings?
Joe Kreibel and Amy.
What kind of markings?
What they did, how many hours.
You're not following me. I have a very simple question that I asked you. We're not how many hours they worked yet. How much money did you pay them in advances against their salary.
Well, this individual week says $460.
Just a second. Between the 25th of August and the 24th of September, how much in total did you pay them in advances? Just add it up. Don't guess. And if you don't know, you say, I don't know.
I don't know, Your Honor. It was done in a weekly fashion. When payday come, you deducted what I'd paid them against what was owed them, and I gave them the balance every week.
Interesting.
This example was $460 in advances. The pay was $930. I gave them the balance, and we started over again.
Great. So you can just make those deductions. There's no question in my mind that you gave them advances because they don't have two nickels to rub together. So they needed money to live, right?
Yes.
So he gave you advances before you started working. Now, when you gave me this $668, did you count in the advances? That's
For that
either a
week?
yes or a no.
For that?
No, for the whole time you worked for him.
The number I gave you, there was no advances on that week.
Your Honor, that's not right either.
Just a second. You said that this was for 50 hours.
Yes.
Are you telling me you worked 50 hours in 1 week?
Well, it was 6 days. We were cramming in.
What?
So is
with no breaks or anything.
We had 10 days to finish it, and I was there another month. I don't think so.
Well, we wouldn't have walked
Okay,
off
just a
if
second.
you
Let's
weren't
do this, Mr. Miller, then. What they said, I assume, is based upon their records, and their records may be cleaner than yours and not difficult to understand. Did you pay them for the last week that they worked? That's either a yes or a no. Take a look. How much did you pay them for the last week that they worked, and what was that week?
That was the week of the 19th.
Of September.
Mm-hmm. They
how much
quit
did you...
the 24th.
Okay, so they left the 24th. So between the 19th and the 24th, they worked. How much did you pay them on the 24th?
I didn't pay them anything on the 24th.
Between the 19th and the 24th, they weren't paid.
I gave them $30 on the 20th and $50 on the 21st. They missed
30,
Monday.
Just a minute. 30 and 50.
Yes.
Okay.
They did not work the 19th.
No,
or the 22nd or the 23rd. They didn't have any money coming.
Okay, just a second. So from the 19th to the 24th, they worked 2 days. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Is that correct?
I'll repeat that. I'm sorry.
Is
and
that
those were
correct?
6.5-hour days and a 4-hour day. You have one with a 4-hour day, and then the other two, they work 6.5 days. So,
so it was
hours on the 20th from Joe.
Okay, so you have 4 hours from Joe on the 20th.
And on the 21st, we have 6.5 hours for each, Joe and Amy.
So she wasn't there at all?
No.
So those are the only 2 days that they worked between the 19th and when they quit on the 24th?
Yes.
Okay, good. So
they have 3 hours on that 24th day, and then that's when they quit. They walked off.
3 hours on the 24th, both of them.
And, Your Honor?
Just a second. And he made $12 an hour?
Yes.
So he worked 17 hours in those 3 days times 12 equals $204. And how much of an advance did you give him between the following dates, the 19th and the 24th? How much of an advance did you give him?
I give him $80.
On what date?
On the 20th, the 21st.
Great.
But there was some outstanding.
124. And she worked 6.5 and 3, or 9.5 hours, and she made $10 an hour, right? Did you give her any advance?
No, just
as
it goes
opposed
to
to
them.
him. Okay, about $220. Okay, in wages. Now the next part of your lawsuit is, see, he keeps good records. The next part of your lawsuit is that you had to suffer a hostile work environment. Did you suffer this hostile work environment when you?
It was kind of meant to be constructive. Every once in a while there'd be a low blow statement here and there, but it was something that, you know, with some thick skin, it's okay. But it progressed into something, he's going through some troubles in his life, and I think kind of created a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation, which kind of made it just worse, because seeing him as an elder, you know, like a family friend, somebody I consider a friend. So because it made that transition, just got intense, got bad.
Well, you want to give me an example, sir?
Basically, daily.
I don't want to hear basically.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The two of you are homeless drifters who can't seem to find your way, and you had somebody who acted in sort of a parental role to you, who you're now suing because he called you a name when you mixed the wrong colors in the paint.
And later today,
I find the fact that you have a job to be a good thing, so that as a responsible young man, the first thing that you say is, oh, gee whiz, I'm so sorry. I was acting like a stupid kid, and I damaged your phone. I'll replace it. Is that what you said to her?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Amrit Moctezuma and her boyfriend, Joseph Kribel, say their former employer, Robert Miller, owes for wages and harassment.
Go ahead.
Okay, whatever issue would be, maybe I missed a certain task in a group of tasks.
What else?
He would get aggressive towards me.
Give me an example.
Fighting stance, yelling, spittle, flying, stuff like that.
What else?
Just demeaning.
You've known him since you're 7 years old. This was a man who stood up for you in court. This was a man who gave you jobs. The two of you are homeless drifters who can't seem to find your way. And you had somebody who acted in sort of a parental role to you, who you're now suing because he called you a name when you mixed the wrong colors in the paint that you didn't like. And he became an aggressive stand. Never hit you.
No.
Never did anything.
Nothing physical.
Physical to you. He was more of a Dutch uncle to you than, because I can't say parent because you're estranged from your parent. What else?
Well, Bob was with his old friend. He was a biker buddy of Bob's. Bob's a Christian biker, and the other guy was a Hell's Angel. And when they got together, it was kind of like they were feeding off each other, for lack of a better term. It became a contest, and it just got worse and worse from there.
You mean they misbehaved in front of you?
Yes, they would, basically...
I don't want to hear basically.
Okay,
That's not what I want to hear.
They would say rude things about me together. He said, when I was to the teeth, yes. Whereas look at you. And, Bob referred to me as a peasant on the day that I was forced off the job.
Where are you working now?
Right now, I am...
The name of the place. If I'm not working, say I'm not working.
I'm not working, but I'm going to another company.
I'm not working. And what about you?
I'm currently unemployed as well.
So the two of you are still not working? Okay.
Yes, we were going to
He
use
owes you $220. We're done here. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You step out.
Do it the way I ask you. Do it the way I do it, and it'll look like I did it, and I'll pay you.
There's other companies I've worked with that don't treat me like that. They see my value.
He's 26, going on 16. I got him up to 18.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of LeBlanc versus Tipper. Step forward.
20-year-old Meredith LeBlanc is suing her co-workers, Cindy Tipper, and her son, 17-year-old Nicholas, for the cost to replace a damaged iPhone.
Miss LeBlanc, how old are you?
I'm 20.
And how old are you, sir?
I'm 17 years old.
This is your mother?
Yes.
And you work?
Yes, I do.
And you and Miss LeBlanc work at a trampoline park?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you had an accident with her phone?
Yes, there was an accident.
Yes. When did that happen?
I do not know the exact date, but it was about a month ago.
September 24th.
Tell me about the accident.
So me and Mary were sitting at the break room. It was
Mary and I.
Mary. Sorry, ma'am. And she put her phone on an empty pizza box. I stabbed the pizza box with a pen that I had. It's not an unlikely thing to happen at the job. It's
just a second.
Not that weird. Sorry about that. I stabbed the pizza box.
Young man, listen. Young men who are 17 often do stupid things.
That's true.
Stabbing a pizza box is probably just one of the stupid things that young men who are 17 do. So you were stabbing the pizza box?
Once, yes.
Was it a large pizza, a medium pizza, or a small pizza?
I believe a large pizza.
Who had ordered the pizza?
A customer for a birthday party. It was an empty pizza box. It was garbage.
Okay, and it was just sitting on the top of the table in the break room?
Yes, ma'am.
So you took a pen. Where was the pen that you used to stab the pizza box?
It was on my lanyard.
So you didn't take it off your head. You used it while it was attached to you?
No, I took the pen off of the lanyard. I stabbed the pizza box, but that's not what flipped the phone. Mary had put her phone on the pizza box, and when I took the pen out of the pizza box, because she didn't move it from when I first
just a second. So you stabbed it?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you went to pull it out?
Yes, after a couple seconds.
Just a second. And when you pulled it out, what happened?
The pizza box flipped open, the lid unfolded, and the phone flew across the table.
Okay. And it was damaged because it's not waterproof?
Yes.
Is that what happened?
Yes, it didn't have a case on it.
And you're 17 years old, which I find the fact that you have a job and that you work and that your mom says that you have to be responsible because that's what people do, I find that to be a good thing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Great. So that as a responsible young man, the first thing that you say is, oh, gee whiz, I'm so sorry. I was acting like a stupid kid, like a baby, and I'm so sorry I damaged your phone. I'll replace it. Is that what you said to her?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What did you say next?
I asked her how her phone was doing, and she said that she immediately picked up a new phone.
And what did you say? Come on.
I said...
Did you think you were going to come here and have fun and it was going to be easy, Nicholas?
No,
it's not going to be easy.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Meredith LeBlanc says her coworker, Nicholas Tipper, ruined her iPhone when he knocked it into a pitcher of fruit punch.
Go ahead.
The first thing I did was I sent my friend out to a local supermarket store to pick up rice to try to repair the phone.
Okay, but that didn't work.
No, it did not.
Okay, so you did a first aired.
Yes, I did.
Because you felt...
That...
But just a second, you felt...
Partially responsible.
Right. Well, she didn't use a pen.
No, she did
She didn't
not.
act like a fool, right?
No.
So that didn't work. So what did you say next?
I asked her how her phone was doing, and she said that she immediately picked up a new phone. And while I do feel partially responsible...
Just a second. She said, I picked up a new phone.
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you say?
I said, that's good.
Come on.
I said...
I mean, did you think you were going to come here and have fun and it was going to be easy, Nicholas?
No,
it's
ma'am.
not going to be easy. All right. So you said, that's good. And?
Did you get the new upgrade, or did you get your old phone back? And she said that she got the new iPhone 7 upgrade.
Okay. And you said?
And I said, do you want me to pay for it? She said she wanted me to pay $300. I did not feel that I was fully responsible.
Just a second. Well, then you would have said to her, well, how much was your old phone?
Yes.
Because that you would have been responsible for, right?
Yes.
And did she tell you how much her old phone was?
An iPhone 6, which was her old phone, is $300 to replace.
Is $300 to replace it. And she's suing you for $300.
Yes, ma'am.
So?
I found out through
other employees. That's hearsay and not admissible. So?
That she only paid the deductible, and that...
You mean she had insurance?
That is what I've been told.
No. Well, you can't tell me that. You can tell me what you think. But you can't tell me whether or not she has it because somebody else told you that. That's hearsay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you watch television. You look like an intelligent young man. You know what hearsay is. It's an out-of-court statement. When offered for the truth of that statement is inadmissible because people can't cross-examine an out-of-court statement. That's what hearsay is.
We have phone numbers of who I found out from.
Who cares? She can't cross-examine them. Now, did you have insurance on the phone? Is
No,
my
I did
question.
not.
No. Okay. I don't buy insurance on my phone. When did you buy this iPhone 6?
Bought the phone 6. Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. Okay, so they offered to swap out of warranty for Exact Life device for $299.
Yes, that would
Okay,
be
great.
a new iPhone 6.
Great. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $300. We're done. Thank you.
Moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm just happy to put this all behind us.
She was partially responsible for the phone being destroyed.
They thought it was my fault for putting my phone on the box.
Even though bad things can happen, people can still be civil with each other and have a working relationship.
Don't mess around at work.
Just glad that a decision was made one way or another. We're good.
He was just irate, kicking the car. I'd never seen him get so angry.
Her ex-con ex tries to sound reasonable.
Why would you agree to help her with her car if you hadn't damaged it?
Because I'm a good person.
And says the trouble's with her.
He had gotten an attitude, was picking a fight with me in the vehicle.
Did you drink at the casino?
Yes, ma'am.
After she had seen the phone call from this other girl, I guess she was mad about it.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Nicole Johnson is suing her ex-boyfriend, Dylan Wood, for vandalizing her car in a fit of rage.
Order. All rise.
This is case number 233 on the calendar in the matter of join in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Miss Johnson, Mr. Wood used to be your boyfriend, and some time ago, as a matter of fact, well over a year ago, it is your claim that he vandalized your car. The reason that this case took so long to be filed, according to you, was that Mr. Wood spent a year in jail. As soon as he was released, you filed the case.
Yes, ma'am.
When did the incident happen? That was in April of 2015?
Yes, ma'am.
April what?
4th.
You'll tell me about it in a minute. Mr. Wood, were you incarcerated for a year?
Yes, ma'am.
From when to when?
From November of 2015 to June of 2016.
Were you in jail at all between April and November?
No.
No. So you really had sufficient time in which to file a lawsuit against him before you went to jail.
Yes.
You want to tell me why you didn't?
After the incident, I thought he would be a person of his word and take care of the damages like he said he would.
I want to ask you this question, Ms. Johnson. Between April the 4th, 2015, and November of 2015, did you see Mr. Wood?
Not after that, no, ma'am.
Not after April 4th?
No, ma'am.
Is that correct, Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Okay. When you say you thought he would be a person of his word, did he say he would pay for the damage?
Yes.
On what date?
After the incident. The date would be the following day or a couple days afterwards. In a text message. No.
He texted you?
Yes.
Is that right?
Well, I simply said I would help her with her car.
You would help her?
I said I would help her because...
Well, I mean, she didn't need her car moved from one place to another, right?
Right.
She needed her car fixed.
Right.
And you said, I'll help you with it.
Yes.
Okay, now let me see why you agreed to help her with it. Ms. Johnson, you want to tell me what happened on April 4th of 2015?
Yes, we had been to dinner. Everything seemed okay. He had gotten an attitude, was picking a fight with me in the vehicle.
You mean after dinner?
Yes, after dinner. So on the way
Who was
home...
driving?
I was. I just kept trying to ask him to stop arguing with me, stop being disrespectful, stop whatever it is you're doing. And it just started getting out of hand. I was fearing... I didn't know how he was going to react to the way he was being. And my witness here, Rick, I pulled in his driveway to get help because I didn't know where it was going to escalate.
What were you arguing about?
I honestly don't even know why the attitude or the anger or the
Do you
fight.
remember, Mr. Wood?
Yes, I do, but we weren't going to dinner. She come and picked me up. She wanted to meet and go to the casino. So I met her in town and dropped my motorcycle off, and I got in the car with her, and we were heading to the casino, and I got a phone call from...
Just a second. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Okay. You met in town.
Right.
You had a motorcycle?
Yes.
So you left your bike and you drove?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were on the way to the casino?
This was after the casino.
Okay, so you had gone to the casino?
Right.
Did you drink at the casino?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you drink at the casino?
No.
Okay.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Shh. Did you have anything to drink at the casino?
No, I was on probation.
Oh, okay. Were you ultimately violated on your probation?
Yes, I was.
Is that why you spent this time in jail?
Yes.
And the violation of the probation was?
It was just a failed drug test for my probation.
All right. So you pulled in, you were on your way home, there was an argument. Two of you probably had a little bit too much to drink, maybe both of you. Certainly you shouldn't have been behind the wheel of the car if you were drinking. And you pulled into Rick's house. That's Rick.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you didn't like what was going on. And pick it up from there.
I pulled in the driveway. I demanded him to get out of my vehicle. I locked the doors.
So he got out?
Yes.
Now, I want you to try to remember very carefully, because the first part of your story you forgot about. You weren't out for dinner. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
You understand. So let's be very clear. And if you don't remember something, there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't remember.
Okay.
Okay, you told him to get out of the car.
I kept asking for him to get out of my car, and he didn't want to get out of my car. He eventually got out of the car. Yes, and he started kicking my vehicle. I ran up the stairs. I mean, he was just irate, kicking the car, just, you know, being crazy. I'd never seen him get so angry, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I ran up the stairs, didn't even open the door, and I was like, help me. I don't know what to do. He's kicking the car. He's been crazy. And that's when Rick assisted me and went outside and tried to help me from there.
And those are the damages you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now you tell me your side of the story.
Starting from Rick's driveway?
Yes, you pulled into Rick's driveway.
Okay, we pulled into Rick's driveway, and after she had seen the phone call from this other girl, I guess she was mad about it.
You missed a whole piece of the chapter with me. After she saw what message from what girl?
She didn't see a message. After she had picked me up from where I dropped my motorcycle off, she had seen that I got a phone call from some other girl.
You mean on your way to the casino?
On my way to the casino, yes.
So all this happened before you got to the casino?
Yes.
Well, then where was the drinking? If all this happened before the casino...
I wasn't drinking.
Yeah, but she said she was drinking. Where was she drinking? In the car? You say you were on your way going to the casino, and she saw a message on the phone.
Yes. And she stopped at Rick's house and wanted me to get out of the car. So I got out of the car.
Before the casino?
Yes.
All right, we had a dinner. We were out for dinner. We had a romantic dinner, and then we had an argument on the way home. Then we were on the way to the casino where I was drinking. Then we were on the way back from the casino. That's why
we never had a dinner.
That's why you're supposed to bring a lawsuit promptly. That's why the law says you're supposed to bring a lawsuit as soon as you possibly can so that everybody's mind is fresh. He wants to tell me the truth. You want to tell me the truth as best as you can remember it, but you don't remember it, right?
I remember.
Well, you didn't. I mean, how could you remember it and tell me that you had been out to dinner with him and you were on your way home from dinner when you had an argument and you pulled into Rick's house?
I understand. I just got confused about where we were prior.
That's not confused. That was very clear.
It was the casino, not dinner. I apologize.
Well, he says you hadn't gone to the casino yet.
We had gone to the casino.
And dinner.
And...
What time did this happen? You have a police report?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to take a look at the police report. Well, the incident occurred on April 4th, but you reported it to the police on April 10th.
I called the police that evening of the incident. Actually, my witness, may have been when I requested the report.
No, it just says incident occurred from 4/4/2015 at 20:30 hours through 2100 hours. Report date 4/10/2015. Did the police arrive at the scene that night?
Yes, ma'am.
They did. And you don't have any other report from them other than this?
That's all they gave me, besides my witness who was there.
Okay. Well, Mr. Wood, maybe it's possible that you don't remember, but she named you as a suspect in this vandalism of her car on the day she reported it. And you did, in fact, say to her, I'll help you with your car.
Yes.
Now, why would you agree to help her with her car if you hadn't damaged it?
Because I'm a good person, I feel like.
No, that's...
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What did you say to them at the time of the walkthrough about the fire pit?
That wasn't there when you moved in.
And?
And I did not put it in there.
I do not recall that at all.
I don't believe her. Actually, I don't believe her.
Okay.
And later today...
I unleashed the dog, turned around me. The dog started barking.
That's not the dog that bit him.
The dog in the house started barking. He started screaming, ah, ah!
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Nicole Johnson says ex-boyfriend Dylan Wood kicked her car in a fit of rage.
Okay, can I see pictures of the car, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had the car fixed?
No, ma'am.
Where is the car now?
In Norman, Oklahoma, where I live.
Do you still own it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you drive it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because it's drivable. It
Yes.
just doesn't look pretty.
Right.
Okay. Do you have an estimate to fix it?
I have two, Your Honor.
I'd like to see this. Would you take a look, Bird, and tell me the value of 2008 Toyota Corolla, please?
$72.25.
Anything else anybody want to tell me? No. Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $43.17, which is the lowest of your two estimates. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She deserves it.
I'm just happy it's finally going to get taken care of.
Me and Rick got in a fight, and he shoved me against the car.
Did you see the damage to that car? I would have had to ram his head into the car 50 times to do that.
Do the right thing.
And also tell the truth.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Shola Depew versus Travisano. Step forward.
Stephen Scholler and Christopher Depew are suing their former landlord, Lisa Travisano, for the return of their security deposit. Lisa is countersuing for violating the lease.
What's your last name, sir?
Depew.
Who's going to speak for the two of you?
I will.
You're Mr. Scholler.
Yes.
Mr. Scholler, you and your co-plaintiff rented a house from the defendant.
Yes.
And you had a one-year lease?
About 13 months, roughly 13 months.
And you stayed during the course of the lease?
Yeah.
And you paid your rent?
Mm-hmm.
And you also had a security deposit?
Yes.
$1,789 is what you're requesting?
Yes.
Okay. When did you move out?
We moved out June 30th of this year.
And did Miss Travisano do a walkthrough with you?
Oh, yes, it's a verbal walkthrough.
What is a verbal walkthrough?
No checklist or anything like that.
Did she walk through the house with you?
Yes.
On what date?
The 30th.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you take any photographs on the 30th?
No, I took photographs. There was no electricity in the house, and when we did the walkthrough, my iPad was dead. So the minute that they left, I was waiting to go back and take the photos.
Well, that's a problem, Ms. Travisano, because that's what a walkthrough is for. A walkthrough is on the date that they are departing or immediately preceding that. You go through, the landlord goes through, usually with a checklist, and says, this is wrong, so that they have an opportunity to say, well, this is the way it was when I rented the house.
They were still had boxes and belongings still there at the walkthrough.
But that's okay. You're not complaining about boxes and things?
No, but the cleaning was not done yet.
Your Honor, I have photos from the 30th. Absolutely.
May I see your photos? Anyway, you returned some of their security deposit. How much did you return?
$1,135.
How much did you keep of their security deposit?
$1,789.85.
Did you serve them with a letter indicating why you were keeping $1,789?
Yes.
I'd like to see it. When were these photos taken?
On the 30th of June, the day we moved out.
Okay, actually, the only thing that I want to see is what did you say to them at the time of the walkthrough about the fire pit?
That wasn't there when you moved in.
And they said?
It's not an active fire pit.
And you said?
Well, there's burnt wood and cardboard in the fire pit.
And?
And I did not put it in there. Okay. You had no permission to do that.
Did she say that to you?
I do not recall that at all, and if she had showed her displeasure that the fire pit was there, we would have taken those bricks away.
Just a second.
Yes.
I don't believe her.
Don't believe
Actually, I don't believe her.
Okay.
That she said that to you.
I mean, I don't either.
This is nonsense. This is the fire pit you're talking about.
Yes.
Like I said, I would have easily taken those bricks, filled the dirt back in that hole. Would have taken 5 minutes.
Very good. We're done.
If that.
We're done.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
And later today.
He asked me to bring the dog into the house. The dog could have stayed right where it was.
Just a second. Not the dog that bit him.
Yeah.
Okay. So
if I didn't open up the door, the dog would have never got out. And if he would have... Yeah,
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Stephen Scholler and Christopher Depew are suing their former landlord, Lisa Travisano, is countersuing for violating the lease.
Okay. Any place that you rent, you're going to have to do a cleanup on. These are the photographs that they say that they took the day before they moved out. I want you to look at them.
Can I show you the pictures that I have?
I want you to look at those pictures. Now, Bert, I'm going to look at her pictures.
Also, Your Honor, on the lease it says that only the 3 tenants were allowed living there and there were other people living in the house.
That's not true.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,789. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was very nice when they rented it, and it was a mess when they left.
It was not updated. All the appliances were old.
Better people.
She was just upset that she was caught in a lie and caught trying to take our money.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Navarro versus Becue. Step forward.
Raymond Navarro is suing Alicia Becue for actual and punitive damages.
The defendant was selling something that you were interested in buying. You went to her house to look at the item, which was some sort of a speaker, and it is your claim that when you were there, one of her dogs bit you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Miss Becue, I don't know what she says. I think what she's saying is it was your fault. And she does call it a bite. She calls it a nip. On what date did this happen, sir?
December 29, 2015.
You went to her house?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you go to the front door or to the garage?
At the garage.
Garage open or closed?
Yes, it's open, wide open.
And according to your complaint, there were 2 large dogs in the garage. Is that right?
Yes.
But neither of those dogs were the dogs that bit you?
Yes, Your
correct?
Honor. Yes, correct.
There was a 3rd dog?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, where did the 3rd dog come from?
Comes from inside the house.
Who opened the door?
She opened the door.
What did you open the door for?
Because he asked me to put my St. Bernard into the house.
When you opened the door, the other dog came out.
Well, I asked him to stay outside the garage.
I didn't ask you that question. What I asked you was when you opened the door, the other dog came out.
Yes.
The Australian Terrier was the dog that bit or nipped him, depending upon whether you are the victim or the owner of the dog. If you're the victim, it's a bite. If you're the owner, it's a nip. Do you have photographs of the nip?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have a doctor's report?
Yes, Your Honor.
When did you contact the defendant about your medical bills?
It was my lawyer who contacted her.
And was there any resolution?
The lawyer requested for a meeting, so there would be a resolution, but she never came in.
Anything you want to tell me?
Yes, Your Honor. He asked me to bring the dog into the house. The dog could have stayed right where it was.
No,
it was
the dog.
leashed
Wait, just a second. The dog, not the dog that bit him.
Yeah.
Okay, so
if I didn't open up the door, the dog would have never got out. And if he would have... yeah, he would.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, your defense is that he asked you, according to you, to put the other dog inside because the dog was barking. And you accommodated him by opening the door.
But I also asked him to stay out on the driveway, not to come into my garage. When I turned around, I unleashed the dog, turned around to put the dog into the house, and he was behind me. The dog started barking.
That's
started
not
screaming.
the dog that bit him.
The dog in the house started barking. He started screaming, ah, ah! I turned around, I told him to stop. Stay right. Alert a dog, you show a dog you're scared, they get on a defense. So when he started screaming...
I have dogs. They don't get on the defense if you show them you're scared.
Well, he started screaming.
Maybe your dogs
The dog
do.
ran out, and the dog nipped him.
Fine. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. We're finished. Thank you.
Pardon your excuse. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
He took advantage of a situation.
Well, it's a fair decision, you know.
And if he didn't start running around screaming, the dog would have never bit him.
I had to walk out of the garage to avoid the dog, but the dog was too fast for me, and...
It's an Australian Shepherd. They're a herding dog.
She got me on my leg.
Go meet him at the fire department.
Not go to any more houses with dogs. That's it.
This is you.
Yes.
You were clearly furious.
A dust-up at the dollar store.
It was about a cigar that they were selling for $1.50. It says 2 for 99 cents on it.
Or is the owner trying to make a quick buck?
He grabbed the cigar and threw 33 cents and walk out. If that's not stealing, how do you call that?
An outright lie, Your Honor.
Judge Judy.
Courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Dion Rose is suing store owners David and Maria Mendoza for defamation of character after they falsely accused him of shoplifting.
Order. All rise.
This is case number 221 on the calendar in the matter of Rose versus Mendoza. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Rose, Mr. Mendoza runs a store, a dollar sort of store.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of inexpensive little things. And based upon what I read in your complaint, you frequented that store. You went in.
Yes.
And you walked in one day and you saw that your picture was up in the store, and the picture suggested that you were a shoplifter.
Yes, ma'am.
And you want to be compensated for that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, do you have a photograph for me or something to show me of the poster that you saw and when you saw it?
Yes, Your Honor. I have a video, actually. It has no audio on it, just video. And if I could, I want to explain, it wasn't just one day I walked in. Actually, it was a day or two after Christmas of last year, December 2015. I came in the store and I had words with the gentleman in the cigar that they were selling for $1.50 for, and it, you know, it says 2 for 99 cents on it. And we got into some type of verbal altercation. And then I came back 2 or 3 days later for some incense or candles, and I saw it directly as soon as I walked in the store, shoplifter.
Okay. So what you feel precipitated putting up this photograph was the argument that you had had with Mr. Mendoza's employee. That is your employee, sir?
Yes.
Okay, because you raised an issue that they were overcharging for cigars that on the package said 2 for $1. They were selling them for $1.50 a piece.
Exactly.
Okay. Stand up, sir. Your last name is?
Mendoza.
Are you related?
Yes, he's my brother.
You remember having that discussion with Mr. Rose?
Yeah, that's happened like March 15.
It happened in March?
That's incorrect.
You think it happened sometime in December?
I'm certain it happened sometime.
And you're certain it happened March 15?
March 15 at 4:15 p.m.
And I assume that that tape is going to show that to me.
Let me explain you.
No, because you're pretty adamant about the date and the time.
For the date of the...
Okay. So you're going to show me something that you took in December of 2015.
I think it was January. It was a couple days after the initial verbal altercation. And this is the beginning of it. I was just walking up into the store. As soon as you walk in the store, it's right here.
Right where?
I'm zooming in on it right there. And I happen to be that person right there screaming, because that's when they took the picture of me when I was screaming at them, right there with the baseball hat on.
Is that just a second?
You can see it clear on my phone, Your Honor.
I'd like to take a look at it on your phone, sir, because I can't see it clearly there.
I'm sorry, hold on 1 second. Okay, either one of those two you can play. Yeah, there was never any incident of me stealing anything from the store.
Just a second.
And, Your Honor, they're not arguing that. I'm sorry.
Do you say that you can see your face in this?
Yes, Your Honor. That's me. It's a picture, and they're not arguing that it's not me.
Okay, I'm just telling you that based upon, I can't see that in here.
Oh, okay.
I can't see that. I see a woman, I see the back of 2 people. It's not clear enough for me to see it. But you don't deny that you put up his picture.
I don't deny it, no.
Okay, show me, because certainly if you put up his picture and he was never prosecuted for theft.
We called the police. We called the police that day of the incident. Let me explain what happened that day. He walked into a store and asked for a cigar that it cost $1, not $1.50. That's his first lie. It's pre-priced $1.99. We sell it for $1 at the door. So normally when you walked into a store...
No, don't tell me normally. Just tell me what happened.
Okay, he asked for a cigar, $1 cigar. My brother put him on the counter. He grabbed the cigar and throw 33 cents and walk out. If that's not stealing, how do you call that? There's no other way to say.
Just a second. Did that happen, Mr. Rose?
An outright lie, Your Honor.
Just a second.
No, it didn't.
And do you have that on tape?
We don't have that on tape, no. That was back March 15, and we didn't keep that much evidence on our record. It's just way too much memory on my computer. We have only the picture that we put up there.
From March 15?
From March 15.
Let me just take a look at it, please.
And also, Your Honor, we have...
Just a second. Is this a picture of you, Mr. Rose, arguing with somebody?
Yes,
Your
Honor.
Is that the picture that you
Yes,
tried to
Your
show
Honor.
me
Yes.
in here? Okay. And do you want to tell me exactly what happened when Mr. Rose came in?
Yeah, he came, and I want to explain to you first. I don't speak good English, but he came and asked for cigars. I gave it to him, I put it on the counter. When he threw me 33 cents, he walked away. I told him, hey man, this is $1. What? It's not $1. He started to argue
with you.
And say, hey, if you don't want it, just leave over there. You don't have to argue with me. And, no, you overcharge me, sir. The price is on the, it's printed. It's printed on the cigars. And he has tried to argue with me. He's tried to fight with me, you know. He said, hey,
no, he
come
was
outside.
argumentative. You could see it from this
He can explain to you better what's going on that day because he saw the video.
He spat on his face. He
spat on my face. He spat on my face.
That's total lie.
It makes some threats. That's the reason why we call the police, and we have the police report.
May I see the police report,
yes.
please? So after this incident, you called the police?
Yeah, we called the police.
Okay, I'd like to see the police report. Do you have a copy of the police report, Mr. Rose?
No, I've never heard of it, Your Honor.
Okay. March 15th.
Exactly, 4:15 p.m.
You have any proof, sir, that this happened in December?
Well, the incident that I'm referring to happened in December, Your Honor.
But there was another incident in March. This is you.
Yes.
You clearly had an argument with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And do you have any proof that the incident that you described occurred in December? Is there any proof that you have that it occurred in December? Does your phone indicate that it occurred in December?
On the recording, when I recorded it?
Yes, it should, if it's in December.
May I?
If it's in December, that would be very relevant to me.
Thank you. I don't know how I would see the date on there.
You have no proof.
Shh.
Your Honor, it doesn't show a date on here at all. My witness can attest that when this incident happened that I'm telling you about, like days after I had the altercations, when I walked in the store and saw this picture up, this has just been happening since December. I've been going to this store. I live a block from the store.
Yeah, but you were arguing, listen to me, you were arguing with this gentleman in this picture. Clearly, you are furious, Mr. Rose, in this picture, okay? Why you get furious over a cigar, I have no idea. If they choose to charge $1 for a cigar that's worth 50 cents, you don't have to go in there and buy from him. But you were clearly furious.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, I was furious because he was cussing at me and trying to...
Mr. Rose, that's ridiculous. Mr. Rose, that's ridiculous. According to you, and I read your case very, very carefully, you had been going to this store all the time.
Yes, I would know.
All the time. Nobody ever provoked you before, because otherwise, and you're not an unintelligent man, Mr. Rose, because if you were an unintelligent man, I would say, well, if somebody provokes you, who's not nice to you, you don't go to the store. But clearly, you never had a problem in the store before, so if you went and you had an argument over the price of a cigar, that doesn't actually require this. It requires, you know what? I'm not buying this cigar.
Well,
and you walk away. You say, I'll buy my cigar someplace else. What do you want?
Yeah, well, excuse me.
You weren't here.
No, I wasn't there.
You weren't there because you're nowhere in the picture.
Right.
Sit down.
Okay, yeah.
And they think it's a joke. I mean, Your Honor.
No, I don't think it's a... Mr. Rose, I don't think it's a joke. But clearly an incident happened over a cigar that you wanted to purchase, that you got very excited over. This man says that what you did was take the cigar and leave with it and threw down what you wanted to pay for it, which was 33 cents. They called the police and made a report immediately. Now, the only other question that I'm going, when for the first time did you decide to sue them? In what month and year?
September.
This September?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, your case is dismissed. We're done. I don't believe you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I have the right to refuse service to anyone, so I'm not going to allow him to store no more.
How detrimental would it be to you if someone had your picture up for 9 months?
Based on what they told me, I'm not doing anything illegal.
As a shoplifter, and you haven't shoplifted anything.
And I'm going to continue doing the same thing I'm doing.
Who would believe someone pays 33 cents for something that costs $1 and walks out?
I'm just protecting my business.
It's common sense.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Wood versus Lane, step forward.
William Wood is suing his former landlord-to-be, 20-year-old Alexa Lane, for reimbursement of storage fees and the return of a security deposit.
Mr. Wood, you rented a room from the defendant. You gave her a security deposit. It is your claim that she told you that you couldn't move in. You want your security deposit back, plus a whole bunch of other damages, which is actually sort of ridiculous. Miss Lane is counterclaiming. She said you signed a lease and you backed out at the last minute. She wants you to pay the remainder of the month's rent. So it's very simple. You found this room on Craigslist?
On the day of
The 26th, or the 27th is our first time we meet in person.
27th of what?
January 27th of 2016.
And when did you sign a lease?
The lease was partially signed, not fully signed, on February 22nd after I gave the deposits.
Okay. May I see what you're talking about, a partially signed lease?
I have the lease.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Okay. This one was actually signed by another tenant, not by William, but this is the same exact lease that he did sign.
Oh, no. I want the lease that he signed.
I don't have that. That wasn't my responsibility to bring.
Well, it is your responsibility to bring it, Miss Lane, because you have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim is that he violated the terms of the lease.
I do. I have the roommate agreement also, but I've also moved several times in the last year, so...
I don't care, actually.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She says to you, I can't give you a key until the rent is paid.
Correct, and I state that I understand that, but I can't pay her the rent if she doesn't allow me to actually move my things in.
No, that's not true. You sign a lease, you pay a month's rent, and then you get a key.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. William Wood says Alexa Lane owes for storage fees and a security deposit and harassment.
Now, if you don't have the proof that he violated the terms of lease because you don't have a written lease, then you don't have a counterclaim.
Okay.
Okay, so you can't show me a lease that somebody else signed, but it was the same as he signed. Okay. So now I'd like to see what you have as a partial lease, sir.
I would not receive a copy from her. She refused to give me a copy upon request.
Okay, so then I don't have to worry about it. I do not have a written lease.
Yes.
Easy.
Correct.
Okay. And you gave her how much?
I gave her $200 security deposit,
Fine.
which she gave me electronic.
On February 22nd?
Yes, February 22nd.
When were you supposed to move in?
I told her I was moving in a week before my lease ended.
What date were you supposed to move in?
March 8th.
Now tell me what happened so that you didn't move in on March 8th.
On March 8th, I reached out to her with my first attempt to get a key to move in. And within the course of 4 days, I reached out to her 3 times.
Okay, so you were supposed to move in on March 8th?
Correct.
And prorate rent for the month
Correct.
of
We had
March?
a verbal agreement that the rent would be prorated based on the day that I moved my things into the house.
Okay, so go ahead.
And upon that time, she refused to give me access to the house and did not provide me with the key in a timely manner, if not, didn't even provide me a key at all. At the point of requesting it after 4 days, she refused to give me the key.
Oh, so she refused to give you a key. What did she say when she...
Well, page 5 of our text message documents, I deposit back.
Okay, let me see your text messages to the
Here's a copy
defendant.
for you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the actual date of him to move in was March 16th, and he harassed me with text messages and phone calls at my workplace and all through the night demanding a key before he ever paid rent.
What would you need for me to be able to rent the room?
Correct. I asked her what...
She says you would need to sign the lease and sign the roommate agreement. So I don't have a signed lease. I don't have a roommate agreement. And pay the first month's rent, which you didn't pay, and a $200 security deposit. So that's what you would need before you ask for a key. Do you understand?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Where I feel that she was discriminatory was the moment that we had the text message conversation on page 5. I tell her information about myself, and upon revealing this information from her, she responds, upon new information, I am uncomfortable with you moving in.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. William Wood says Alexa Lane owes for storage fees and a security deposit. Alexa has a countersuit for lost wages and harassment.
Now, before signed lease, a signed roommate agreement, pay her a month's rent, which was how much?
It was prorated.
A month's rent was $275, Your Honor.
Pay $275 plus a $200 security deposit. So the only thing that you did was pay the $200 security deposit.
Correct.
And then you asked her for a key.
No,
Yes,
not. What I did is I gave her the $200 security deposit, and we had a verbal agreement that on the day that I move in, it'll be prorated.
Fine, I would like to see that here.
Okay.
Is that anywhere in these?
The verbal agreement? No.
Is that anywhere in here?
No, it's not, ma'am.
No. Okay. Well, that takes care of all the other nonsense, your discrimination against you, whatever.
There was no discrimination, Your
Just
Honor.
a second. She says to you, I can't give you a key until the rent is paid.
Yes, ma'am.
She says that to you.
Correct, and I state that I understand that, but I can't pay her the rent if she doesn't allow me to actually move my things in.
No, that's not true. You sign a lease, you pay a month's rent, and a security deposit, and then you get a key.
That's understandable, Your Honor. We had a verbal agreement as to...
That's not here.
Our agreement, the agreement that we discussed was that...
No.
I'm sorry.
Not here. Not in the messages that you gave me.
Where I feel that she was discriminatory was that the moment that we had the text message conversation on page 5, I tell her information about myself, including that I'm a Freemason. And upon revealing this information from her, she...
Your Honor, he informed me he was a Freemason the day he saw the room, and I was totally comfortable with it.
She did not rent the room to anybody else because she assumed that you were going to do what you had to do to rent the room, which was to sign a lease, sign a roommate agreement, pay a month's rent, and pay a security deposit. Of those 4 things that you had to do, you only did 1. Then you demanded access to the room.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you demanded access to the room. Over and over again, you demanded access to the room. That's what you said. I asked for a key 4 times, and she wouldn't give me a key 4 times.
I requested that a time for us to meet, and that way she could give me the key and that I could give her money. And she was not cooperating with me as to a time that we could meet up for me to fulfill our agreement.
That's not true, Your Honor.
And there's text messages where I'm asking her where I want to meet her.
Just a second. She said, I left you numerous voicemails on Thursday afternoon, which you never called back. That's on a Thursday.
Right.
Okay, letting you know I got your calls and was making your key.
She only responded to me once. From
Your Honor, I was a full-time student.
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Let's be clear. This was not a good marriage, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a new roommate?
I no longer live there anymore.
Oh, fine. Then give him his $200 back. We're done. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $200.
Ma'am, can you hear my countersuit?
No. You have no lease, correct?
I have the lease, just not the signed lease.
No. If you don't have a signed lease, you don't have a lease.
Okay, and it's also for harassment at my workplace.
Forget it.
Okay.
Should have given him his $200 back. He wouldn't have harassed you in the work.
He knew the roommate agreement, and it says that if he didn't provide me a 30-day notice written, that he would lose the security deposit because my end was to just hold the room.
$200.
Okay.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Tragedy in her unsafe stables?
You really had the responsibility to call a vet, but it's her responsibility to pay.
She doesn't have a permit to run a boarding stable.
When did you have this epiphany? When you had a problem?
Judge Judy.
He was calling me and texting me all through the night, all through the morning. When I was at work, I was a full-time student. He would text me all through class.
That was a complete lie. I have text messages where I'll text her once.
Demanding a key before he even paid rent.
And I did not harass her. One text message every couple of weeks, and it's not harassment at all.
He wanted to put his things in the house before paying rent. I'm not okay with that. So that's how that happened.
She really wasn't very...
Again, that's why I have moved out and it's no longer my property.
You claim that the horse that they sold you was lame. You want your money back.
Tricked by crooked horse traders?
So you had the horse for almost 3 weeks.
Almost.
I don't know what you did with the horse in that 3 weeks.
Or sellers saddled with a dishonest buyer?
But I wasn't able to ride that horse.
You posted something on the internet with you riding the horse.
And that was the only time.
I don't believe you.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Tia Erickson is suing 17-year-old Nikki Parent and her father, Richard, for the return of money she paid for a horse and for vet bills.
Order. All rise.
This case number 300 on the calendar in the matter of Erickson versus Parent.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Ms. Erickson, you bought a horse from the defendants and claimed that the horse that they sold you was lame. You want your money back.
Correct.
And in addition, you resorted to a little self-help, and you took the horse, and without their permission, without their knowledge, you trespassed on the claim, because you did that. You said, A, you had no right to trespass on their property, had no right to return the horse. In addition, they're suing because now they've taken care of the horse for, I don't know how long, for feed bills and whatever. That's their counterclaim. Now, I'm going to start out with you. 2. How many horses do you have?
Well, technically 3.5. I have a miniature as well, but 4.
Where did you get them?
I purchased Maya from one of my friends in 2012.
You purchased?
Maya, and then...
From a friend?
Yep.
Not yup. Yup is not an answer. Yes is an
correct.
answer. In 2012.
Yep. Yep, sorry.
Yes is the
Yes.
answer. And how much did you pay for her?
$1,000.
What's the other horse that you have?
I have Hope, which was a rescue, and Mel.
Just a second. Hope was a rescue from where?
My farrier, so the one who trims their feet, he brought her to my attention. She needed help, and she was very overweight, and she had bad feet, so I took her in my care.
When?
That was in, I want to say 2013.
What else do you have?
I have Melvin, and I bought him in 2014, or I didn't buy him. I went down, and I was originally supposed to pay $100, but she decided to give him to me for free because she knew he'd be in good hands.
Where did you get this horse from that you sold to Miss Erickson?
I actually, when I was younger, she brought to my attention in 2014 that her and her husband got a divorce, and she needed someone to take the horse because she wasn't getting the proper care, so I went and rescued her as well.
So you paid nothing for her?
Yep. Yes.
Why did you decide to sell her?
I actually rodeo, and I was deciding to continue my rodeo career. I wanted another rodeo horse, and Eva was sitting on the back burner for me, so I decided...
She what?
Was sitting on the back burner, so she wasn't getting top attention, which I felt she needed, so that's why I decided to sell her.
Why didn't you just find her a good home?
Because in the rodeo world, you have to lose some to win some, basically.
Just a second. You got the horse for free.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to know is, why didn't you, if the horse was on the back burner for you, why didn't you try to find the horse a good home like the other people did when you rescued their horses?
I don't know. I decided to sell her because I did put a lot into feed and vet bills and farrier, which farrier gets expensive with 4 horses.
Mm-hmm. So you wanted to be paid back for feeding her?
Yep. Yes.
Did you ride her?
Did I ride her? Mm-hmm. Yes, I did.
Okay. On what date did you purchase the horse?
On July 31st, 2016.
On what date did you trespass on the defendant's property and return? You trespassed on their property. I don't care whether they were on Mars. On what date did you...
I brought the horse back on August 20th, 2016, after a short ride.
Just a second. And you say you picked up the horse on what date?
On July 31st.
So you had the horse for almost 3 weeks.
Almost. But I wasn't able to ride that horse.
I don't care.
Mm-hmm. They understood.
I don't care. On what date did you first advise the defendants by email or text message that you can prove to me that you were having difficulty with the horse?
I did it immediately after having...
No. That immediately is not my answer.
Right.
I said, on what date?
I had the veterinarian come out on the 19th of August.
So what you're telling me is that the first communication that you had with them was almost 3 weeks later.
Correct. That's when we had a chance to ride the horse.
You don't get your money back.
Your Honor,
you don't get your money back.
They're aware that...
Don't tell me what they're aware
warranty.
of. You can't testify what's in somebody else's mind.
There was a warranty, express warranty we agreed upon.
You don't get your money back. You had the horse for 3 weeks.
Your Honor, what about...
Just a second. Mm-hmm. You had the horse for 3 weeks. I don't know what you did with the horse in that 3 weeks, because you wanted a trail ride, and that you did absolutely nothing with the horse for 3 weeks until you had a vet look at it. And I'm not prepared to do that.
We did ride the horse on this. First time was 2 weeks after, because that's when we were able to do that. But they knew that I was wanting it for a rideable trail horse.
You don't get your money back. I don't know what you did to the horse.
So the statute's saying that...
You don't get your money back. You have to be a buyer that does the right thing in a timely fashion. And 3 weeks later is not a timely fashion. If you have a horse that's in your custody for 3 weeks, and I don't know what you did with it, but I read something in an answer that says that you posted something on the internet with you riding the horse.
And that was the only time.
I don't believe you. Is that your tape?
My witness is the one
who rode it. Is that your tape? No way.
Horse.
Not happening. Can I see it?
Yes.
That's returning the horse. She wants to see a picture of...
I wanted to see the
riding.
Internet picture of her riding the horse.
And I did not ride the horse, ever, Your Honor.
That's that one call. They're on the horse.
Can I see them, please?
State it's amazing on trails.
Listen to me. Did you tell me that you never rode the horse?
Personally, no, I have never rode that horse. My witness did.
Well, this is you. I don't know if you're on the horse.
I went riding with them on my own horse. That's me on my own horse.
This is not the horse.
She's behind him.
What do you mean she's behind him?
The picture of Tia and Eva is behind because she purchased it for her boyfriend to ride.
To ride on trails.
So he rode the horse?
Yes.
So this is her, and he rode the horse?
Yes.
And do we have a date on this picture?
There wasn't a date.
Well,
that was August 14th, 2016. That's the first time and the only time that my witness rode the horse.
I don't believe you, Ms. Erickson. You don't get your money back. Now, you don't get anything on your counterclaim either, because what you're probably going to do is you're going to resell the horse. That's what you're probably going to do.
Right.
I mean, you got it for nothing. But they can't just decide that they don't want it anymore after, in all probability, something that happened to the horse in their care.
Your Honor, the veterinarian bill states, our explanation and exam states it's a pre-existing condition that was before I bought the horse.
You're not getting your money back.
So they can ride.
You're not getting your money back.
They can sell a rideable horse using false advertisements.
Case is dismissed. We're done.
Always are excused. You may step out.
It seems to me that Mr. Parent is...
Miss Erickson slandering my teaching of my daughter is kind of ridiculous because...
By advertising that it was amazing on trails, rides double.
Her own vet report told her the hooves were bad, needed to be done.
The vet report showed that this horse had chronic progressive arthritis with bone spurs.
And they weren't done. We had to do them as soon as they returned her.
Which was very chronic and very grade 4 lame, they said.
The feet on the horse are the most important part of the horse.
We wanted to go riding together, which has been destroyed now because...
We rescued her once and we're rescuing her again.
Of the poor lame horse, I feel bad for where it's ending up being.
Because then I can know who's taking care of her and I trust myself.
But I have no say.
I'm happy she's back.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bartolomeo versus Wooten step forward.
Linda Bartolomeo is suing her former tenant, Nathaniel Wooten, for unpaid rent, late fees, damages, and the return of property.
Ms. Bartolomeo, you had a rental property that you rented to the defendant's then-girlfriend.
Yes.
He moved in with the girlfriend, then the girlfriend moved out, he stayed on.
Correct.
You were never a signatory to the girlfriend's lease, correct?
No, ma'am.
Did you have your own lease?
No, not that time, I did not.
Did you ever have your own lease?
Once she moved...
That lease?
I have it on my phone, ma'am.
Do you have a copy of that lease?
Yes, I do, and the amendment.
I'd like to take a look at it.
That's the amendment. This is the original lease.
Lease. Amendment.
This was done by mail because this is the same signature on both.
It was done through email, ma'am.
Through email.
Through a Rocket Lawyer.
Okay, so your rent was $112.50 a week.
That was in the first lease. The amendment changed it to $225 every 2 weeks on the 8th and 22nd of every month.
Excuse me, Your Honor, that's incorrect.
And when did you move out?
I moved out on October 4th.
Between July 2nd of 2016, Mr. Wooten, and October 4th, did you pay your rent every 2 weeks?
Yes, ma'am. I paid my rent for the first 2 weeks of August.
No, we're talking about July 2nd. I want you to pay careful attention to my words.
Yes, ma'am.
I said as of July 2nd, 2016, up through October 4th, did you pay your rent every 2 weeks?
No, ma'am.
What weeks didn't you pay?
I didn't pay the 3rd and 4th.
So do you owe 4 weeks or 8 weeks?
I owe 0 weeks. The reason why I didn't pay her is because she violated the lease, and we were supposed to go to court, and I had the money in an escrow account, and she never took me to court, and then we showed up on here.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why were you growing marijuana at the house? Why?
She told me I could.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Just a second. Why did you do it? I'm asking you.
I did it because I was tired of paying for weed.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Linda Bartolomeo says former tenant Nathaniel Wooten violated his lease. She is suing for rent, late fees, damages, and the return of property.
Now, did you pay rent? No. Did you live there? Yes. Then you owe rent. My only question is, when you say 2 weeks and 2 weeks, does that mean that you didn't pay 4 weeks or you didn't pay 8 weeks?
I didn't pay 6 weeks, Your Honor.
In the middle? Oh, okay.
Yes.
What difference does it make? You say 7 weeks, he says 6 weeks.
Well,
Let's say 6 weeks. That's $675. That's 6 weeks. Okay. Now, I assume that you signed minor changes in the original lease. It says, as of July 2nd, neither party was in default of the lease. So that's why I started with July 2nd. So
Correct.
According to both of you, you were each in compliance with the terms of the lease. And he's going to keep the house in an acceptable condition for potential buyers. So he was...
Correct.
And he will complete the inside trim of the house. Painting will be completed by August 1st. Was that done?
No.
Did you do that?
No, Your Honor.
Why not?
I have a text from Linda saying that the only amendments that she made on the lease was about changing it from weekly to bi-weekly.
No, it's right here.
I didn't read it. I did not read it because I have the text saying that the only thing that she changed on the lease was how much I was paying instead of weekly to bi-weekly. So I said, okay, I'll sign it and send it back to you. I didn't know
that's your problem. Because if what you signed you didn't read, that's your problem. How old are you?
30.
It's your problem. Okay, the following items will be provided by the landlord. That was in the amendment. Stove, refrigerator, dishwasher, microwave, washer, dryer, toaster oven, cappuccino maker.
Yes, Your Honor.
I received everything back. Everything, that's correct.
And did you provide that?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you want to tell me why you didn't pay rent?
I didn't pay rent because she was selling the house at my approval.
You knew that she was selling the house, sir?
Yes.
You knew she was selling the house. That's why part of this amendment is there, is that you keep the house in good condition for potential buyers.
Yes. The other reason why.
So far you owe $675. You have pictures of the damage he left? Why were you growing marijuana at the house? Why?
She told me I could.
That's not true.
Just a second. In order for her to tell you could, your landlord just came up to you one day and said to you, I think you should grow marijuana in the house?
No, she showed me where to grow it. It wasn't in the house. It was outside.
Just a second. That's not what I said to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When they moved out, she left the grow lights, the grow plants, the power strips. I have pictures of it. And we smoked together when I was signing the lease in the first place. So I understand it was okay.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Linda Bartolomeo says former tenant Nathaniel Wooten violated his lease. She is suing for rent, late fees, damages, and the return of property.
I said, you mean one day the landlord came up and said, I think you should grow marijuana in the house.
Correct.
This is where I think you should grow it?
Correct.
Is that what happened?
Yes, and she also she left, when they moved out, she left strips. I have pictures of it. And the buckets and everything else. But I didn't grow it in the house. It was outside the house on the back.
Why did you do it? I'm asking you.
I did it because I was tired of paying for weed.
That's an answer. That's an answer. Not because this lady told you to grow it. You were tired of paying for it.
Well, we smoked together when I was signing the lease in the first place. So I understand it was okay. Like, I have texts from her telling me to hide the
paraphernalia. May I see the pictures of what you're complaining about in the house, please? So far, he owes you $675 for rent.
Can I have my witness come and help me? I lost my glasses and I can't see. I'm looking for the pictures of the doors.
How long did you live there, Mr. Wooten?
From the first time I moved in?
From the first, how long did you live in the house?
We moved in March 15th is when we first moved in.
What year?
2016.
Is that when you moved in with your girlfriend?
Yes. They gave us the house in January, but we didn't, there was so much cleanup that we had to do.
2016?
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't live there long?
No.
Where are you living now?
I'm currently living at my mom's house.
At your mom. What do you do to support yourself?
I work at a 5-star restaurant as a cook.
Continuously?
Yes, I work there 6 days a week. My new house isn't going to be ready till next month. That's the reason why I moved in with my mom for this month. And the reason why I stopped paying rent, one day she had the realtor hand me a 14-day eviction notice that wasn't signed, wasn't given a reason why I was getting a 14-day eviction notice. It was just this law of a 14-day eviction notice given to me by the realtor, not even the property manager. The realtor printed it out, handed it to the property manager. I was like, I just paid my rent. How can you give me a 14-day eviction notice? and it states in my lease I have a 30-day notice because the amendment said everything that was signed, therefore, in the first lease was still active.
So you did read the amendment?
After I found out that
Just
changed
a second.
it.
So you did read the amendment?
Because she sent me a text saying I violated the amendments. I was like, what amendments did I violate? And then she sent me a text saying, I was like, I didn't see those, and that's when I went and looked at it.
I know where they are.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, may I see the pictures, please?
I'm
Come on.
sorry. Here's the one door, and then I have to take the phone back to show you the other two doors because it's on a different thing.
Did you damage any of the doors?
No, ma'am. The house was left
What are
better
these?
than when I got it in the first condition.
I'm looking at a dog, and I see scratch marks.
Yes, but there's two other ones on there, but it's in a mess.
She had 4 dogs, Your Honor, when I moved in. That's why I had to rip up all the carpet, and the scratches were already there.
I don't care. What property do you claim he took without permission?
A bed and 2 TVs that were left by the previous tenant.
The previous tenant was his girlfriend?
Yes.
Forget it. What's next?
I have the receipt.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, ma'am.
Forget it.
I need 3 doors replaced in the bedroom.
Because of the scratches on the doors?
Well, that's what I'm trying to find the other picture to show you.
I'm not replacing the 3 doors because of the scratches on the bottom of the doors.
Well, they're hollow doors and they cannot be fixed.
I'm not replacing them. Neither is he. He owes you $675 for the rent he didn't pay.
Your Honor.
Where is it?
Don't speak. Doesn't sound like you're losing, except the rent that you have to pay because your behind was in the house for those 6 weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
They're on this, but I can't find it.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $675. We're done.
Please excuse me. Step out.
Seems that you and Miss Sampe were engaged. You bought her a ring.
At first, she was eager.
It came by special delivery, so I actually didn't give it to her. She opened it and had it on when I got home.
Then she was gone.
At some point, the engagement was broken.
He filed eviction notice. I had been forced out of the home by police that came in waiving elder abuse paperwork.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
63-year-old Sherman Hawthorne is suing his ex-fiancée, 42-year-old Lucille Sampe, for the return of an engagement ring.
Order. All rise.
Now it's case number 269 on the calendar, the matter of Hawthorne versus Sampe.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Hawthorne, I've read your complaint, which is a relatively simple one, and the defendant's answer and her counterclaim. It seems that you and Miss Sampe were engaged. You bought her a ring, and that's the ring.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it, please. When did you give her the ring?
We purchased it in November of 14, and it came by special delivery. So I actually didn't give it to her. She opened it and had it on when I got home.
Was she living with you?
Yes, she was living with me,
She
yes.
was living with you at the time. Okay. So clearly, this is an engagement ring and a wedding band.
Right.
Yes.
Right? And clearly, these were given to you in contemplation that there would be a marriage.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Put them back.
Well, we did get engaged. We began living together in about 2011, and this was all in contemplation of getting married. He was pretty sick when I first met him.
Listen, I need the Reader's Digest version of this. This is only a half-hour program.
Okay.
You got engaged when?
2012.
And you were living together?
Correct.
How long did you live together after 2012?
Up until about April 2015.
And you were engaged all that time. Did you wear both these rings or just one?
Both.
Both. So you wore the engagement ring and the wedding band?
Yes, he wanted me to wear both. Yes, ma'am.
He wanted you to?
Yes.
And you did?
Correct.
Okay. Now, at some point, the engagement was broken.
Correct.
And you gave him back the rings?
Yes.
When was that?
April 2015.
How did they come into your possession again?
After we had broken up. This was all due to his...
Don't tell me what it was due to. I don't care. Another show.
Okay.
Not me.
We had broken up, and he filed eviction notice.
To get you out?
Yes.
Okay, so you were evicted from the premises?
Yes.
Because you didn't want to leave voluntarily?
I wanted 30 days to get some things together because, you know, this all happened at like 3 o'clock in the morning, April 30th.
So there was
some
sort of a kerfuffle.
Correct.
And you wanted 30 days. Lived with you for a long time.
Yes.
Okay. But he evicted you and you gave him back the ring.
Correct.
And how did they get back into your possession?
So he had the jewelry the entire 30 days while I was there trying to reestablish myself. I had to buy new furniture. When we moved in together, I gave everything away.
That's your counterclaim.
Okay.
Let us move on. I'm dealing with this now.
After he had gotten the jewelry and I had moved out, it had been, I don't know, 3 to 6 months that I had moved away, gone, no communication. The plaintiff continued to call me and text me and wanted to go out on a date or dinner. He wanted to make up for the things that happened because I had been forced out of the home the night before I had to move by police escort. His son came over, said I had a knife, and his daughter came in waving elder abuse paperwork.
So, how did you get the ring back?
We went out to dinner. He gave me a check for $50 as a gift, and then he presented the ring to me as a gift to make up for everything that I had gone through.
Well, not to make up for. What did he say to you when he gave you the ring back?
I'm sorry, you know, I let my family get involved. I'm sorry I didn't help you move and get reestablished. And here is a check, and then this is a ring. I took it, and I kept it, and I said thank you.
I'm not being convinced that he doesn't get the ring back.
Well, I did not agree to marry him before we went out on a date. He was
Now you're out at dinner. You're out at dinner.
Yes.
Now, after that dinner, did you see Mr. Hawthorne again?
We may have gone out a couple of times.
After that?
No.
No. After? Could you stand up on your own?
Yes.
Is there something wrong with you? After you got the ring back at dinner, did you go out with him again?
I'm trying to recall. This is a year ago, over a year.
Did you go out with her again?
Judge, Your Honor, we went out many times.
Not many times.
Many
2 or 3
times.
Okay. And did something happen after this reconciliation of sorts, after that broke you up finally?
We weren't really dating when he gave me that ring back.
That's not what I asked you. What I said, was there another incident that happened after the dinner, after you saw him, you say a couple, he says many, was there another incident that happened between the two of you?
No, not to my recollection.
Was there another incident?
No, ma'am.
Nothing. Did you stop calling her?
Yes. She blocked me.
That's not true.
I could not call her unless she wanted to talk to me. Whenever she wanted to talk. Other than that, I was blocked.
Okay.
I would say Thanksgiving and right before Christmas, we communicated.
Of 2015?
2015, yes, ma'am.
Well, now it's well into 2016.
Right.
When did you file this case against her for the return of the rings?
I filed that in September.
What took you so long?
Well, I tried to give her time. I told her that I could wait a little while if she wanted to wait. And she said, yes, I would like to wait a little while before we do. So,
before you do what?
Before we get back together and marry. I wanted her to have that ring in marriage. She knows that.
Well, it's a wedding band and an engagement ring.
Right. I told her she could have that smaller ring, that engagement ring. Never the wedding ring.
So you told her...
She came to my house.
Just a second. So you told her that she could have this ring, but not the wedding band.
No. Just the opposite. That's the wedding ring in your right hand.
Well, that's the most important. Listen, this is the more expensive one.
Right. That's not the one I told her she could have.
You told her she could have this one?
Yes, ma'am. She came to my house and got it.
That is not true.
When?
She came to my house one night after her work in her car and parked in my driveway to get a registration that I had that belonged to her car. And I told her, you take this, I want you to have it.
Just a second. So is what you're telling me that you didn't give her the rings?
I gave to her at my house in the driveway.
Over dinner?
The larger ring, we were out to a place in St. Louis, and we talked, and I told her again that I wanted her to have the ring. I asked her, was she ready to marry yet? And she says, I want to move on to better things. If you're ready to change the way you're living, and we can go ahead on and get married. And I let her have the ring.
I don't believe you, Mr. Hawthorne.
Well,
I think you gave her the rings without a promise The first time, I think that you asked her to marry you. The second time, I think, you gave her the rings.
No,
and there
ma'am.
was no contemplation of marriage at that
ma'am.
point.
May I speak?
Well, just a second.
Okay.
Does it sound as if you're losing? Why would you want to speak if it doesn't sound
No,
as if
Judge
you're losing?
Scheindlin. No, Judge Scheindlin.
So, a wedding ring is given in contemplation of marriage. That's the way it was given to her the first time.
Yes.
And you would have gotten the ring back. The second time, after you broke up and after she was out of the house for 6 months, and after you had a dinner, and you changed the story a couple of times, you gave her the little one but not the big one. Well, why would you give her the wedding band instead of letting her keep the engagement ring? You weren't married to each other. You just wanted to give her a token. Do you remember giving her a check for $50?
Yes.
What was the check for, Mr. Hawthorne?
Just a gift. We went to dinner in Fairview Heights, and I gave that to her and a box of candy.
How much did you pay for this?
43.
Okay, now I'm going to get to your counterclaim. This is what, if I understand your counterclaim. When you moved in with Mr. Hawthorne, you had a house full of furniture, and he said, move in with me, get rid of your furniture.
Correct.
In what year?
Late 2011.
So, according to you, what he said was, I'll give you money to get some new furniture. Not when you first moved out, but later on. He said, here's $50, and I'll give you another $1,750 so you can buy new furniture. Forget it. Not interested. But the rings are yours. You don't like them? Sell them. That'll take care of your furniture. Do we understand each other?
Yes.
Perfect. Give her back the rings.
Sure.
Very good. This case is over.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you.
A lot of things took place. A lot of lies were told.
It was all his doing. Once he gave the ring back to me as a gift,
You don't go buy a ring with a retail value of $8,000 and give it to somebody.
I guess things didn't go the way he wanted them to go, and he just wanted to harass me.
But I'm going to move on.
I love Judge Judy, and I'm very grateful for the outcome.
Love and money don't mix.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Barajas versus Forsyth. Step forward.
18-year-old Michaela Barajas is suing her boyfriend's mother, Marini Forsyth, for an unpaid loan to pay her rent.
Ms. Barajas, what school do you going to?
The Arts Institute.
What is that?
It's a school for arts, like I was doing film production.
From when to when?
June 2015 to about July. Only like
for a month.
A month, yeah.
Did you apply for government loans and things for school?
No, I'm Native American, so I'm exempt from a lot of that.
Where did you get the money from to loan the defendant money for rent?
From the tribe.
I don't understand that. Explain that to me.
So I have residual checks that come in once or twice every 4 months.
For how much?
$2,800.
That you get every month as part of what?
Just for being a part of the tribe.
So how much do you get annually?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. It started when I was 18. I just turned 18 in March.
When did you get your last check?
June.
For $2,800?
No.
How much?
$50,000.
$50,000.
That one is only to be touched when you're 18.
Did you blow it already? You went through the whole $50,000?
Yeah, I bought a car and been paying rent.
What kind of a car did you buy?
Fiat.
How much did you pay for it?
$1,600. $16,000, sorry.
What'd you do with the rest of the money?
I don't know. Spend it.
Are you living with him now?
Yes.
And this is his mother?
Yes, Your Honor.
Plaintiff moved into your house. You were behind in your rent.
Yes.
She gave you money. How much did she give?
$6,000.
When did you move out of the house?
September 24th.
Who did you move out with?
By myself.
Who did you leave home?
My son, Tyler, my other son, and my daughter, and my ex-husband, who I asked to move back in to help take care of the rent.
Who pays the rent there?
Currently me and her ex-husband.
How much do you contribute?
It just started a month ago, I would say, so I paid the full month of $1,300 in utilities, an extra like $500, but next month he's supposed to take over the full $1,300 and I'm just utilities.
Don't count on it. What does the boyfriend do? What does the boyfriend do?
He currently just got hired at Best Buy.
So he did nothing? Nice. So far, you're not making great choices.
Right.
Don't have any children just yet.
No.
It's my best advice to you. This is not a mess you want to be involved with.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I was riding, there were parked cars, there was traffic as well, lost control of my bike, and I woke up to a passerby holding my head to the ground, saying that I was bleeding profusely and that the ambulance was on its way.
Michaela Barajas says her boyfriend's mother, Marini Forsyth owes for a loan to pay rent.
Okay, now, tell me about the $3,000.
She had been stressed and talking about being behind 2 months on rent. For a while, they were about to be evicted. They were getting constant notices of 3 days. So felt bad. I told her, I will loan it to you. I have the money, and I'm okay to take care of myself for right now. It's not a problem. Just pay me back whenever you can.
Okay, and she said okay.
Yes.
Can you pay her back?
No.
She can't pay you back. That's not a contract. Pay me back whenever you can.
I mean, she's given me like a couple bucks here and there. I have it documented.
Oh, well, that's good. That's fine. Then she's doing what she said she would do.
Right.
But you don't have an enforceable contract.
No.
If a contract with you is open-ended, I'll pay you back when there is a next full eclipse of the moon. And there is never a full eclipse of the moon again. That means you never get paid.
Right.
You left it up to her in your open-ended contract by saying, I have the money right now. Pay me back when you're able.
Right.
That's not a contract. I wish it were a contract, actually. I think it's absolutely wrong to take advantage of somebody like you who is inexperienced with finances, who is 18 years old and inexperienced and gets this whole lump sum of money. But now you bought yourself a whole bunch of aberration. You have her ex-husband, the boyfriend who doesn't work, her other 2 children. Do they work?
No.
No. I really wish I could help you. But this is still a court because from an emotional perspective, you're sympathetic. But from a legal perspective, you don't have a contract with her. You can have a verbal contract,
right,
but your contract with her wasn't a verbal contract because it said you pay me back when you can. Now, if she won the lottery and she had $10 million, I say, you know what? You say you can't, I say you can. She doesn't think she can pay you back the $3,000 now.
She also lived in my house for 2 months rent-free, too, so.
How much was your rent?
$1,300.
Well, but she gave you $3,000.
Yeah.
So, and you were how many people? You, the ex-husband, and your 3 children, right?
Well, yeah.
So 1/6 of $1,300 doesn't amount to $3,000.
Correct.
Right, good. I'm sorry. I wish I could help her because I think that you're not a nice lady. This case is dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I loaned her the money. She said she was going to pay me back, and she didn't.
She stayed in my house for 2 months and didn't pay any rents, and
I believe I paid out my rent.
so I feel like I don't owe her anything.
I feel like I was just trying to help, and it went out of control.
She threw me out in the middle of the night.
And we took over her bedroom because we were paying for it.
And I end up looking like the bad guy because she...
Oh, the next case.
All parties in the matter, Turner versus Smith. Step forward.
Renee Turner is suing bicyclist Brandon Smith for crashing into her parked car.
Ms. Turner, it is your claim that the defendant damaged your car with his bicycle.
Yes.
That he was riding and you didn't see the incident.
Correct.
Your car was parked at the time. And I assume you have a police report.
I do.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Was yours the only vehicle that was hit?
To my knowledge, yes, but in the accident report, supposedly there was another vehicle in front of mine, and that was what he had run into.
It says here you had been drinking alcohol prior to riding your bike. Is that correct, sir?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Renee Turner says she was at work when bicyclist Brandon Smith crashed into her parked car.
When did this accident take place?
March 1st?
Of this year?
Of this year.
You were riding your bicycle where, sir?
I was riding it south in Solana Beach on 2nd Street.
What time?
Can't remember off the top of my head, roughly in the afternoon.
Where had you been?
I had been at Pizza Port getting lunch.
What happened?
I was riding, there were parked cars, there was traffic as well. I reached back to grab a drink of water. My bottle is located under my seat. While I was doing that, and I woke up to a passerby holding my head to the ground, saying that I was bleeding profusely and that the ambulance was on its way.
Okay. Now I'd like to see the police report.
Absolutely. Good.
So you're in your place of business?
Yes.
And you heard a commotion outside, ambulances, etc.?
Yes.
You heard commotion. You came out sometime later. What time did you come out?
I didn't come out until after I was finished with work at about 9:30 or 10 that night.
Tell me what you found on your car.
I found this note from the sheriff's
see it?
department. Absolutely.
Okay, so the police officer gave you an event number. It indicates your vehicle was hit by a bicyclist. There was an accident report taken. They gave you a case number, North Coastal Station, which is the police station, the badge number of the police officer, and as a result of this, you took a look at the car.
Right.
Could I see photographs of the car?
Yes, you may.
Basically a very long, deep scratch.
Yes.
And some denting.
Mm-hmm.
Was yours the only vehicle that was hit?
To my knowledge, yes, but in the accident report, supposedly there was another vehicle in front of mine, and that was what he had run in.
Prior to riding a bike, is that correct, sir?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, it says here you had been drinking alcohol prior to riding your bike. Is that correct, sir?
That is correct.
Okay. Can I see an estimate for the damage to your car?
Yes. I have 2 estimates. Would you like both?
Yes. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,200. We're done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She came to me, told me I had directly done damage to her car.
Oh, he said he was totally compliant.
I apologized and wanted to see what was going on.
He wanted to fix the situation until I sent the assessment of how much it was going to be to fix it.
And then I got an estimate for $3,000, and something was fishy, so I stopped responding to her.
Then he just didn't respond.
And I tried to call her bluff and see if she would actually go with her insurance.
I'm just glad that I'm finally going to be getting my car fixed.
As she should have, but that didn't exactly pay off.
Don't park your car on the street.
Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Boat repairman Roger Fountain is suing his former client, Jody McCluskey, for unpaid boat repairs, plus interest and late fees.
Order. All rise.
Now it's case number 287 on the calendar in the matter of Fountain versus McCluskey.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Fountain, you want money that you claim is owed to you for fixing the defendant's boat.
Yes, Your
That's
Honor.
what your case is about. Mr. McCluskey, you have a whole different story. So I'm going to start with you. What kind of boat did you buy, and when did you buy it, and from whom?
I purchased a 97 Sea-Doo Challenger.
1997, so a 20-year-old Sea-Doo.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you purchase it?
In April of 2015.
Who did you purchase it from?
A gentleman named Ferguson.
How did you find Mr. Ferguson?
He happens to be one of my customers.
Customers in what business?
Landscape.
Had you seen the Sea-Doo?
Yes.
When you were doing landscaping?
I did.
Is that how you found it?
That's correct.
Did you see it for the first time in April?
Yes, ma'am.
And it had a for sale sign?
It did.
You paid him how much?
$8,000.
And I assume that you're a businessman, and dollars was an appropriate price for a 20-year-old Sea-Doo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Was it a good price? Stop playing with your papers.
Yes, ma'am.
Was it a good price?
Yes, it was.
How good?
It was great, being that we had a lot of accessories on it. We had the wake tower, nice sound system, you know, all the extras.
When you looked up its value, and I'm sure you looked it up, what did it say its value was?
Well, the value on the boat is approximately $7,000.
So why did you pay him $8,000?
Because of the different accessories on it.
Now, before you purchased it in April, did you have him put it in the water?
No.
Did you have a mechanic look at it?
No. We did start it, though.
So you neither test drove it in the water nor had a mechanic look at it?
No.
Now, you bought it in April from Ferguson?
Yes.
And you do his landscaping?
I do.
Do you still do his landscaping?
Yes, I do.
When did you first put the boat in the water?
I didn't.
Ever?
No. No, ma'am.
Why?
Well, because I couldn't get it started.
So you tried to put it in the water?
No, I tried to start it prior to putting it in the water.
After you already purchased it?
Yes, ma'am.
What month did you try to start it?
I tried to start it right after, probably actually in May.
So you brought it home in a trailer, some
yes,
sort
it has
of trailer.
a boat trailer.
And then Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Yes. And did you tell Mr. Ferguson you couldn't start it?
Yes.
Did you ask him for your money back?
No.
Then why did you call him?
Well, because I wanted to see what might be the problem. He did indicate that it did have a leaky crankcase in that...
Just a second. Did he tell you that before you bought it?
Yes.
And that didn't give you any cause to pause before you bought it?
Not at all.
A leaky crankcase?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what you do to fix a leaky crankcase?
Yes.
What do you do?
In most cases on this design, you have to rebuild the engine.
So let me understand this, Mr. McCluskey. You paid $8,000 for a Sea-Doo that was worth $7,000 because of its accessories that you couldn't start because you had to rebuild the motor because it had a leaky crankcase that you had already been advised of before you bought it.
Yes.
So what did you do?
I actually could not get it started. Ferguson came over to my house. We tried to crank it over, and it has 2 engines, by the way. The number 1 engine wasn't starting. Number 2 is fine. So typically in this case, the engine had a bypass on it, which meant that there was a separate mechanic other than Mr. Fountain over here that actually put a bypass so it would stop the oil from leaking from the crankcase, which in turn drag over it.
Just a second. Don't explain the whole thing to me. You tried with Mr. Ferguson there and another mechanic.
No, Mr. Ferguson, the owner, the previous owner.
Mr. Ferguson came to try to doctor up, because he probably likes the way you landscape, to try to doctor up this machine that you paid a lot of money for and that was useless to you, and it didn't work.
That's correct.
So, what did you do next? Did you ever ask Mr. Ferguson for your money back?
No.
I'm just curious. Is that because he's a customer of yours and you've been working for them, and over the course of years, you're going to get your money back from Mr. Ferguson?
Of course.
Landscaping, whatever, one way or another, you're going to maintain his business.
Yes.
See how the story is piecing itself together? So then, what did you do? You still couldn't operate the Sea-Doo for its intended purpose. Where does Mr. Fountain come in?
Well, I happened to notice a new boat shop that opened down the street. And so I contacted Mr. Fountain to come out and take a look at the boat, see if he could fix it.
And
he was nice enough to come out and pick up the boat, and that's where the story begins.
Because you see, Mr. McCluskey, what I have to do is figure out who's trying to scam who. So I'm going to add this answer that you swore to.
Yes.
I would like you to read the first line after it says, Jody McCluskey, being duly sworn, deposes and says, I do not owe the plaintiff any money. Read that line.
I do not owe the plaintiff, Roger Fountain, any money.
Read next line.
All right, I was a new boat owner at the time. I called Roger, and I was only looking for an oil change. That is
period. I was a new boat owner at the time, and I was only looking for an oil change. That is all that was needed to fix my boat, and I made that clear to Roger before he picked it up. Well, that's not true, Mr. McCluskey. Can I have that back, please? That's clearly not true. You couldn't get the Sea-Doo started. The owner of it came over. He tried a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you still couldn't get it started, so you couldn't use it. So your boat just didn't need an oil change. Your boat needed to be fixed.
The oil needed.
Now, just a second. Hey, one way or another, this is going to be a very simple case for me, because one or the other of you is not telling me the truth. And I read both of these things, and right now, you lied in your first line that you said to me, all my boat needed was an oil change, which is exactly why I came to you first, sir. To you is, after all the kerfuffle, which we will find out what happened with the boat, and your kerfuffle, this was in 2015. How many times did you use the Sea-Doo last summer?
Probably 4 or 5 times.
Between the time Mr. Fountain worked on the Sea-Doo and the summer, I want the name and telephone number of the person who worked on the Sea-Doo.
Okay.
What's the name and number of the person who did repairs on the Sea-Doo?
It's my friend, Daryl.
Why didn't you call your friend first? Mr. McCluskey, if you have a friend who can fix a Sea-Doo, why didn't you call him first? You see where I'm going? You know exactly where I'm going, right? Okay. Mr. Fountain fixed your boat.
No, he didn't.
And you didn't pay. Oh, really?
No, he didn't.
Show me a bill from somebody else who fixed your... A paid bill from you. Mr. McCluskey, a paid bill from you that's in your stack of somebody between the time Mr. Fountain worked on your boat and you put it in the water.
I can't.
This summer. You can't.
No.
You need some more time?
No.
You need some more time? Okay, because you don't have it. Right. You know that the police became involved because you said, I'm not giving him his boat until he pays me. And he said, I'm not paying you. All I authorized was an oil change. Baloney.
And later today,
how did you damage the car?
I was putting gas into it, and I drove it back to the house, and next thing I know it, she's blaming me for damages, and I did not wreck the car at all.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Boat repairman Roger Fountain says former client Jody McCluskey owes for boat repairs. Jody is countersuing for tow charges and the cost of a boat cover.
Okay, so you owe Mr. Fountain the money that he says you owe him for fixing your boat, which is not a lot of money, actually.
No.
Which is not a lot of $800?
Yes,
right? I
yes,
mean, it's a
Your
lot of money, but it's 1/10 of the value that you paid for the boat, and you couldn't use it. And you were going to make up your money from the guy who sold you this boat that didn't start by jacking up his price to do landscaping. You said, I'm not going to ask for his money back because he pays me more than $8,000 a year to do his landscaping, so I'm not going to cut off my nose and lose a customer. How much was the bill to fix his boat?
Your Honor.
What happened, Mr. Fountain, is you made arrangements for him to come and pick up the boat. The boat was fixed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Came to pick it up, and there was a kerfuffle because as he was following you, according to him, the boat cover was flapping, and he was following you, and he pulled you over. He said, my boat cover is ripped. One way or another, the police became involved because you said, I'm not giving him his boat until he pays me.
Correct.
And he said, I'm not paying you. I'm not paying you. I didn't authorize this. All I authorized was an oil change. Baloney.
No, ma'am.
Oh, it's absolute baloney. You bought a non-functioning Sea-Doo to him.
I knew exactly what was wrong.
Because somebody...
I knew exactly what was wrong with the boat.
Because somebody snookered you, and then you tell me that you have a friend who fixed it, but no bill from your friend who fixed it. Yeah. You owe him $879.40, and your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Oh, excuse me, step out.
He is a con artist.
Jody McCluskey tried ripping me off, and he got what he deserved.
We even have paperwork showing that the man has had deceptive practices.
That's not correct.
Do your homework. Make sure it's a reputable company.
Don't let people take advantage of me, and, you know, the customer is not always right.
And now...
This is McDonald. Step forward.
25-year-old Chelsea McDonald is suing her sister, 22-year-old Jordan McDonald, for an unpaid loan.
Miss McDonald, this is your sister, and it is your claim she owes you some money. Money that she put on a credit card that you allowed her to use, that she said she would repay. As soon as she got a job, she's got a job, she hasn't paid you back. That's what the case is about.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you support yourself?
I was working full-time at Citibank, and I was actually laid off.
When?
I was laid off in June.
June of this year?
Of 2016. I enrolled back into school, and I am working part-time for a cleaning company now.
Who do you live with?
Myself.
And how old are you?
I'm 25.
And how do you support yourself?
I did not owe the plaintiff anything.
Judge, I didn't ask you that question. I want you to use your listening ears. How do you support yourself?
My name's Jordan. I work for...
What?
I work for Tri-Health. I am currently living with my mom right now.
That's not what Miss McDonald, I got that your sister is 25 years old. She lost her job with Citibank in June. What she does to support herself is she works for a cleaning company part-time. Am I correct?
Yes.
I asked you how you supported yourself.
I work part-time with Tri-Health.
Part-time with Tri-Health. What do you do for them?
I register patients in the ER.
How many hours a week do you work?
Probably about 25 hours a week. I get paid bi-weekly. So about 50 hours pay period.
Does your mother work?
Yes, she works full-time.
And how old is she?
She is 54.
And how old are you?
I'm 22.
Okay, so we have a 22-year-old and a 25-year-old who work part-time, and we have their mother who's 54 who works full-time. Sounds right. Sounds like the direction of the country.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you still have a car?
No, no longer.
What happened to the car?
I no longer drive, so I went ahead and canceled my insurance and decided to go ahead and get rid of the car, and I take the bus to and from work. Ma'am.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Chelsea McDonald says her sister, Jordan McDonald, owes for a loan to fight her DUI.
Now, when did you get a DUI?
Back in February 2016. It was February 21st, the day before my birthday.
And your sister gave you a credit card in order to put you had to pay legal fees?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And when she gave you the credit card, did it have a zero balance? Well, she has the records. So when you had this conversation to get this case going, and she gave you the credit card, did she tell you it had a zero balance?
That's what she told me, yes.
And you took it? The credit card?
As a gift.
Just a second. Just answer my questions. You took it, correct?
Yep, I sure did.
So I assume you believed her when she said it had a zero balance.
I did.
Well, if someone is making you a gift, why would that be an important thing for her to tell you that it had a zero balance? If she was making you a gift of this credit card, what difference does it make if it had a zero balance or if she already had $10,000 on it? Can you think of a reason she might say, no, it has a zero balance, so whatever you put on the card is going to be your responsibility when you get a job?
Well, as my sister, I assumed I could trust her.
You assume you could trust her?
I assumed
That's what she assumed. She assumed she could trust you. And at the time, your sister and your mother were living with you.
Yes.
Then you had an argument. And the argument was about a car that your sister had borrowed that belonged to you?
Yes.
That she damaged?
Correct.
When was that?
This was late July of 2016.
How did you damage the car?
I was putting gas into it, and I drove it back to the house, and next thing I know it, she's blaming me for damages, and I did not wreck the car at all. From her.
Where did you take it?
I believe I went to Kroger's to cash my check.
And?
Stopped at the gas station to put gas back into the car, and I went straight home.
What happened with the car? She wouldn't know the truth if it came up and slapped her in the face.
I let her borrow the car to make some errands. She went to the gas station up the street from her house to put gas in for what she used. She was watching my backup camera that I have on my dashboard, and she wasn't watching the front end of the car, and she hit either a rail or a pole by the gas station that protects the gas pumps.
And there was a scratch on the car or something?
It was dented, the whole side of it, the fender.
Now, when she came home from putting gas in the car, what did she say to you?
She didn't say anything at first. She walked in with a paint kit that she purchased from Walmart to try to patch up.
Oh, so she went to try to fix the car?
Yes.
And try to match the paint?
Correct.
At Walmart?
Yes.
You remember that?
I do not.
Too much booze.
A little bit too much.
When she walked in, I asked her what this was. I texted her first and said, "Where are you? You've been gone for a while." She says, "I have a surprise for you." That was my surprise. Was my car.
So then you had a fight, whatever.
Yes.
Okay, and that's why how much did she use on your credit card?
She used a total of $2,105. Everything has been highlighted.
Joel is the lawyer that you used?
Yes, Your Honor.
And there are some miscellaneous charges that I allowed her to charge on the account to help her get by when she was in between jobs.
What's PNC Bank?
There, ma'am, I had to take a cash advance to pay off a title loan that she took against her car. I had to pay it in cash or a cashier's check.
A title loan she took against her car?
Yes, at that time she did have a car. She was having some issues before her DUI, so she took a loan to help herself out. You know, she didn't tell myself.
Do you remember taking out a car loan against your car?
Yes.
Who paid for it?
She did, as a gift.
Grow up.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, paid a lot of money to Mr. Was he successful in dealing with your DUI?
Yes, I no longer have a DUI on my record.
Did you plead guilty to the DUI?
No.
So it was a good thing that your sister gave you this card and you had Mr. It was a good thing, right? Do you still have a car?
No, no longer.
What happened to the car?
I no longer drive. I was on suspension during that time, so I went ahead and canceled my insurance, and I no longer decided to go ahead and get rid of the car, and I take the bus to and from work.
Ma'am. She got caught driving under suspension.
What?
She got caught driving under suspension. They impounded the car. I was going to help her get it out, and I decided not to.
You don't have to deal with her. let your mother deal with her.
Yes.
$2,105.49.
I have evidence right here that shows that it was a gift. I think it's
$2,105.49. Judgment for the plaintiff.
It shows right here that
We're
she
done.
will pay or whatever. Don't worry about the credit card bill. You owe me. I will pay it.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
What were you going to do with the trailer?
I was going to grow some marijuana.
Where?
In the trailer.
Neighbors feel burned after renting their RV.
He told me he was camping, that he needed the trailer to live in. Am I right?
They say you don't get your deposit back.
Now a family's on the line of fire.
This person called Children's Services on us simply because for $1,000.
Some moron like you has to be punished.
Judge Judy.
You are Upland. This is Judge Judy.
Sean Silkwood is suing neighbors Susan Burkhart and her husband, Victor Ramirez, for the return of his deposit on a trailer, as well as the money he spent to fix it up.
Order. All rise.
Now it's case number 273 on the calendar in the matter of Silkwood versus Burkhart Ramirez.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, huh?
Mr. Silkwood, how did you meet the defendants?
We're neighbors.
How long have you been neighbors?
About 5 years.
Do you have your own home?
I do not. I rent the back house of my parents' house.
And you own your own home?
Yes, we do.
That's correct.
Some time ago, Mr. Silkwood, according to the complaint that I read, you made an arrangement with the defendants to rent a trailer that they own.
Correct.
And you made an arrangement to rent that trailer for a period of 3 months.
Yes.
What were you going to do with the trailer?
I was going to grow some marijuana.
Where?
In the trailer.
Where were you going to put the trailer?
At a friend's property in Paris, California.
Did you tell the defendants what you were going to do with the trailer?
Yes, I did.
No. Tell me what you told them.
I asked him if he wanted to let me use his trailer. He said, for what? I told him I was going to grow some marijuana.
He told us he was camping here.
Just a second. But you told them you were going to use the trailer, the inside of the trailer, to grow marijuana?
Correct.
Not live there and grow the marijuana outside?
No, inside the trailer.
Is that what he told you he wanted
No,
the trailer
Your
for?
Honor,
What did
he told me he was camping, that he needed the trailer to live in for 3 months.
How much were you going to pay for the trailer, sir?
$1,000.
Is that correct?
No.
$1,500.
$1,500.
But he gave you $1,000 deposit.
That's correct.
On what date?
July 23rd. With the balance of $500 paid, we'll get back from North Carolina because we were taking off our vacation at that time.
Okay, so you let him take the trailer, he gave you $1,000, and then you left on vacation?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Okay, and this is what I gather happened, Mr. Silkwood. The defendants helped you take the trailer to this friend's property where you were going to leave it.
Correct.
And stay with it.
Correct.
And they left.
Yes.
And later you had a conversation with your friend that said you can't leave the trailer here.
Correct.
So somehow you got the trailer back to their property.
Yes.
How did you get it back to their property?
I borrowed a friend's truck.
And you moved the trailer back to their property. And what this lawsuit is about is you want your deposit back.
Correct.
Well, you want a little more than your deposit back for some reason. I don't know what that reason is, because you cleaned up the back. And they say you don't get your deposit back. They moved the trailer to where you wanted it. It's not their fault that your friend told you to get the trailer off the property.
Exactly.
That's what the case is about.
Exactly.
So far. Is there anything that I don't understand?
Well, the trailer didn't have valid registration on it. That's why I was asked to remove it.
Who cares? You took it without a valid registration.
Yeah, I didn't know that prior.
Whose fault is that?
That's my fault.
Right. Just for my own information, you were intending to grow this marijuana for what purpose?
So I didn't have to pay for it. It's very expensive.
Okay, you have a cross-complaint.
Yes, I do.
Yes, we do, Your Honor.
Your cross-complaint is that
this person called the Department of Children's Services on us and had them come out to my home.
Yeah, I see that.
And talk to our children about their father being a meth addict. They were showing my 13-year-old and my 15-year-old.
On what date did you return the trailer?
I believe it was the 25th.
Of what?
July.
And you've been their neighbor for 5 years?
Correct.
How many children did they have?
3.
Have you interacted with them and their children in the past?
Yes.
Have you ever called Child Protective Services with regard to them in the past?
No.
On what date did you call Child Protective Services?
On the 27th.
On the 27th of what?
July.
Is that before or after you spoke to them?
After.
And they told you that...
Yes.
Well, what inspired you on the 27th of July to call Child Protective Services?
Out of safety for their children. I'm a parent myself, and...
You felt no need to call Child Protective Services in the 5 years that you've been their neighbor, but it was the day that they refused to give you your deposit back that you decided that you were sufficiently concerned for the welfare of their children to make that call? Is that what you want me to believe?
It was a derogatory comments made by...
It was a what?
It was a comment made by the defendant
Well,
about a young woman.
Just a second. By which of the defendants?
The male.
And that comment was?
It was about a young girl's breast in about the 6th grade.
Tilly.
Anything else? Is there anything else?
Yes, we have a text, Your Honor, from him on this phone threatening to call the Children's Protective Services simply because for $1,000.
Just a second. Just 1 second. I'd like to see the text.
Sir.
Just give it to him.
Right there. Let's scroll with the arrows.
Is it on the scroll page?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay.
Your Honor,
So
I just want to say it was very, very, very frightening for my children.
Just a second. There's no question. There are two things. The fact that your friend told you you had to move the trailer, you had already made a contract with these people. Your contract was for $1,500. The $1,000 was merely a deposit. Actually, they're not even suing for the remainder of the $500 on their counterclaim, because the fact that you chose to put the trailer someplace where it couldn't remain, that's your problem. Okay, so your claim is dismissed. They're countersuing for $3,000 for your malicious call to Child Protective Services.
Yes.
And I'm granting their counterclaim for $3,000 for maliciously calling Child Protective Services for two reasons. One, because it was malicious and it frightened these 3 children. These 3 children were children that you knew well for 5 years. And the call that you made was a direct result of a business affair having nothing to do with the welfare of the children. Now, that's egregious towards them, but it's equally egregious with regard to Child Protective Services, an organization that is limited in their ability to address real issues of child endangerment because of staffing, and some moron like you who calls them over a business deal gone awry has to be punished. You don't use the system to get even with somebody and put children at limited resources because you didn't get your money back. Do we understand each other, sir? We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you.
Let me off.
How dare someone do this to you?
I paid them $1,000, and they gave me a shoddy trailer.
You didn't have a place to go.
Never again.
Ain't no friend of mine.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Anderson versus Trammell. Step forward.
Danita Anderson is suing her former tenant, Lavelle Trammell, for unpaid rent and damages to her rental unit.
Miss Anderson, you rented a unit that you owned to Mr. Trammell and claimed that you were forced to evict him. He owes you some rent, and he damaged the premises when he left.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Trammell, well, he sort of is fuzzy about the rent part. It's sort of like, oh, well, I paid part of it, and I tried to pay the rest of it, and she wouldn't take it, whatever. So Mr. Trammell actually probably acknowledges that he owes you some rent for the time he actually lived in the house. Maybe not. We'll see. So let's take care of the rent first. Mr. Trammell, when did you move in to the residence owned by Miss Anderson?
November 2015.
Did you sign a lease?
Yes, I did, ma'am.
Do you have a copy of that lease?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it. Was his lease through November 30th, 2016? It was $500 a month. You still working for Quicken Loans?
Yes, ma'am.
You work security, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Why did you only give her partial rent in August of 2016?
The reason I gave her partial rent because the job that I does is a seasonal job. So at the end of the season, it kind of slowed down.
What kind of season?
As the basketball season winds down, we get kind of slow, so it's kind of slowed up.
So how much of the $500 did you give her?
I gave her exactly $300.
Now, had you always given her her money in check or cash?
I normally pay by money orders.
And you retain a copy of the money order?
Some of them I have.
Well, you should have all of them. Could you stand still? I'm getting a little seasick, and I know I'm not on a boat.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He also owed $500 for July. I allowed him to
just a minute, we didn't get to that. Do you have your money order receipt for July?
Not handy, but I have a copy of it.
If it's not handy, make it handy.
And later today,
on the 15th of December, did you have liability insurance on your car?
Exactly the day I didn't have the insurance.
So exactly because of that.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Danita Anderson says her former tenant, Lavelle Trammell, owes for rent and for destroying her rental unit. Lavelle is countersuing for an unlawful eviction and for withholding his property.
Okay, so you owe her $200 for August. Unless you tell me you paid her that money. Did you pay her the $200 for August?
When I
Just answer my questions. Did you pay her the $200 for August?
When I attempted to pay, she refused my money.
That's not what I'm asking you, sir. Did you pay her $200 in August?
Your Honor, when I offered to pay the lady the remaining balance, she would not take my money.
When did you offer to pay her?
I offered to pay her the 1st of September when I was getting ready to pay my next month's rent.
She didn't want your rent for August and September. You'd already breached your lease. So the answer is you never paid her the $200 in August. Now, did you stay in the apartment in the month of September?
No, ma'am.
You left on September 15th.
Correct.
Now, do you want to tell me why, if it's true, that he offered you the $200 that he owed you September 1st, I assume?
If I can back up, he also owed $500 for July.
He didn't pay in July?
No. And so I allowed him to
just
pay.
a minute, we didn't get to that. Do you have your money order receipt for July?
Not handy, but I have a copy of it. And in previous months, I have also paid late.
Just a second. If it's not handy, make it handy. Where is it?
It's not handy right now, ma'am.
So he owes you $500 for July and $200 for August. When did you give him a 30-day notice?
He was given a 3-day notice.
3-day notice.
The 1st of September.
And at that time, did he offer to tender any money?
No, ma'am.
Not true, Your Honor.
Show me. Listen to me. Show me the money order for $1,200 that you had in hand because you owed her $500 for July, $200 for August, and $500 for September. That would have been $1,200. All I need from you is proof, because hopefully this receipt will be handy. The handy proof that you tendered to her the $1,200 that you then owed her starting September 1st. I'll wait. You can look.
Oh, we can proceed. I don't have them handy right now, ma'am.
So that means he owes you $1,200 because he stayed until September 15th.
I will say this, Your Honor.
He stayed until September.
I didn't ask you
until. Oh.
When did he stay?
So basically.
Just to get, I don't want to get basically.
Okay, so September 15th is when he moved out, but he actually was on the premises on the 24th and destroyed the apartment and left on the 24th. And after he left,
he's paying for the whole month of September.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. But I guess
right.
I'm getting to the damages that he did.
$1,200. We're not talking about the damage.
Okay.
So far.
Okay.
Now, who saw him on the premises? Because he said he was forced to leave on September 15th. Did you see him on the premises on the 24th?
I actually live in Virginia. This is my property manager who lives directly across the hall from him.
Okay. Would you stand up, please? Tell me your last name.
Maureen.
Miss Maureen, did you see Mr. Trammell at the apartment on the 24th of September?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me the circumstances.
I woke up the morning of September the 24th. I heard some bumping in the apartment across the hall. I opened up my door. Mr. Lavelle was walking around saying, "This building, I'm out of here. I'm gone." And I saw the lady there sitting with him. She was picking up stuff, taking it out the apartment. After they left, I went into the apartment. The cabinets was hanging off the wall. I immediately texted her. I said, "They destroyed your cabinets. They pulled the sink off the wall."
May I see photographs?
And those first few
are
before pictures. And then the after is the damages.
Stand up. Last name?
Thomas.
Did you go to the apartment with him on the 24th?
Yes.
Would you show this to Miss Thomas? Look at me. Did you do that?
Of course not.
How do you think that happened? Look at me. Look at me.
When
When I come visit him, the house was completely, it was...
I'm showing you two specific pictures. Do you want to answer me how those cabinets got pulled off the walls?
I have no idea.
Okay, I'll take them back now. Now you can sit.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You had a stop sign, and it was your responsibility to stop until the road was clear.
Which it was.
No, it wasn't. You're supposed to drive defensively and wait for her to leave.
She was in her number one lane, though.
I don't care if she was on Mars.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Danita Anderson says her former tenant, Lavelle Trammell, owes for rent and for destroying her rental unit. Lavelle is countersuing for an unlawful eviction.
Nasty man.
Not at all.
Judgment for the plaintiff on your claim in the amount of $5,000. There's at least $5,000 worth of damage there, and my maximum is $5,000. That's what you get. Your counterclaim for unlawful eviction is dismissed. I would have evicted you too. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
That damages was done by her and her crew.
He was a horrible tenant.
But that's okay, no problem. Small thing to a giant.
And I'm glad he's gone.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter, Tucker versus Gonzalez Dudareva. Step forward.
Michael Tucker is suing fellow motorist Anna Gonzalez Dudareva for causing an accident when she made a lane change in an intersection.
This is a car accident that happened in December, is that correct?
Yes.
On the 15th.
Correct.
The stop sign there is where your car was coming from, is that correct? What kind of car were you driving?
Lexus LS400.
What year?
93.
On the 15th of December of last year, did you have insurance on your car?
Yes, I did.
Liability.
Correct.
What kind of car were you driving?
Toyota Solara 2006.
On the 15th of December, did you have liability insurance on your car, and with whom?
Exactly the day I didn't have the insurance.
So that's why...
Not because of that.
Yes, because of that. Exactly because of that.
Yep.
Okay, so Mr. Tucker, would you go over so that you can show me exactly what happened? You're coming out of your community, and?
I'm coming out of my community. I stop at the stop sign, look left. I see her way up the road in the number one lane, which is the one to the left. I look to the right, check for pedestrians, and look left one more time. She's still in her lane, the number one lane. So I pull out and occupy the number two lane. She decides to change lanes from the number one lane into the number two lane without signaling, and I was always told that you never change lanes in an intersection anyway. But she hits me. The point of impact happens in the number two lane, which clearly shows that she's at fault.
Well, that suggests that you hit her. That diagram suggests that you hit her.
No. And the reason I say that is because I'm in
Well, that's what your diagram shows, that the front of your car hit the rear of her car.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I'm just telling you, Mr. Tucker,
yes,
that demonstrates that your mock-up of the accident demonstrates that you hit her.
I'm at 0 miles per hour. She's coming down the road at 40. So I get into my lane before she gets to that lane, and then she slides over into me and hits me.
Okay, Mr. Tucker, now you can step back. Of course, it's not what she says happened. She says she was in that lane. I don't care what she says, actually. And I usually don't side with the people who are driving without insurance. But based upon what you're telling me, you had a stop sign, and it was your responsibility to stop until the road was clear.
Which it was.
No, it wasn't, because if she's coming down at 40 miles an hour, you're supposed to drive defensively and wait for her to leave.
She was in her number one lane, though.
I don't care if she was on Mars. If you see a car barreling down at 40 miles an hour, you wait for that car to pass.
No.
Well, so your case is dismissed. Tell it to somebody else. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She changed lanes in the intersection and hit me.
When I was passing the intersection,